We're in on the left-hand side, and then obviously we've got merch. Obviously we've got the notebooks and the pens there, and everyone's writing down notes. And hopefully there's lots of interesting stuff that we cover off today. And as you can see, we're doing the Auckland event last, and that's just to allow us to do the live stream as well. And of course, we want to get as many people as we can from all around Auckland into the office. And yeah, obviously we're in Christchurch during the week. We've been to all those other cities, and I think the fact that we can do so many really sort of shows, as ESET New Zealand, we do have a huge amount of resellers out there across the entire country, which I think is pretty cool. For whatever reason, Auckland, we always have a fairly poor turnout. I think we had 33 or 34 people register. We don't have that many here today, obviously, but that just means there's more food and beer for everybody that we've catered for at the end. Now I'm Brad. I'm sort of head of ESET. I also look after some of the other brands that we have as well. So WatchGuard is one of those. They're known primarily for their firewalls and access points. And then also look after Safetica, which is data loss prevention software. So things like you send an email out to the wrong person by mistake with sensitive data, or people try and copy sensitive data out of your network, that sort of stuff. Safetica can detect that, block, warn, whatever it needs to do from there. So yeah, a couple of cool brands. And then Lukesh, the guy who's going to be running our demos today. So I know you can't quite see his full title there, but basically sort of head of our pre-sales team and looks after a number of the other brands as well with me.
Sorry, just a minute.
Cool.
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And then, yeah, today our main focus is going to be ESET with a little bit of seller cyber as well. And sort of the format is starting off at kind of the low end, I guess, if you like, of the range, and sort of going up in complexity to there all the way up to the Stellar Cyber Scene tool. But also we've got some slides first with some sort of real threats and attacks that we've seen in New Zealand and some other interesting information as well. So that's sort of the format, if you like. At any stage, feel free to ask questions. And I know Lukesh always does a great job at the end of each demo he does, just to say, hey, any questions, please ask. So yeah, going back to ESET, obviously you've been around forever. They're the biggest European vendor, and they have been for quite a few years, until about 3 years ago, Kaspersky was number 2. And obviously that's not the case anymore. And that's meant that we've really sort of cemented that, if you like, as being by far the biggest vendor in Europe. And you'll hear me mention this a couple more times today, but that private company, no debt, owned by the original founders, really is important to ESET. It's the idea that they're not just trying to, sort of pump and dump their stocks or, whatever, or make constant AI references and marketing ploys and all that sort of stuff. I think they spend something like 15% of their gross profit in marketing. I've seen some of the American brands spend something like 80%. So that's definitely not who ESET are. Their entire marketing effectively is us doing these roadshows and printing on the t-shirts there in the back and that sort of stuff. Globally, they've got 23 offices headquartered in Slovakia. We deal quite closely with a number of them, and also the Singaporean team as well. And we do get some early access to some of the tools and things as well, or some of the threats that nobody else gets to see in the world. So I think that's actually pretty cool. And I'll go into that in a bit more detail soon. We protect 110 million endpoint users. So that's people that have got ESET installed on the device. 2.5 billion Android users. How can I make that claim? That seems a bit ridiculous. That's because we protect the Google Play Store. So ESET's got an arrangement with Google that does that. So basically every app you download officially, it's been scanned by ESET. Of course, the fun thing with Android, you can get apps from anywhere. And I've got that in the threat data. You'll see some interesting stuff there. Big number of revenue there, of course. Big number of customers. These are people that have got a centrally managed license type on their machine, 5 seats and above. And then for larger ones, we've got over 4,000 enterprise customers. Here in New Zealand, we've got about 10 or 11 that are that sort of size, including our largest customer on our MDR platform. They've got about 1,600 seats, and they're also on Stellar Cyber as well, the SIEM that we sell that integrates with ESET. And what makes us different, I sort of already said this a little bit before, but that first one there, best detection world, fast, lightweight, accurate, that's what ESET's really been known for many, many years, and has always been a real sort of focus for them. And then those next 4 kind of go back to a bit of what I was saying before, that the focus really is, security for technology, and not just sort of, marketing at first kind of thing. It's definitely security first. Us here in New Zealand, we've got over 500,000 licenses, which I think is pretty cool considering the size of New Zealand. Definitely a reasonable number there. And of course, we've got over 1,000 reseller partners. So some of them, the smallest, have got 10, 20 seats with us, and their main part of the business is actually something else. And then we've got some of the biggest ones out there. We also have quite a big footprint in Fiji and Australia as well. So yeah, in total, huge number of seats out there. Of course, we've got that MDR service that I just mentioned before, and we're unique in that we're offering it to you at a distributor level. So we're not sort of a competitor to you or somebody like, say, Datacom, not saying that they're a bad company at all, of course, but they're not someone that would be able to sort of build a system and customize the system the way that we do out of our office. So you're very, very proud of that service. We've been offering it now for nearly 3 years. Haven't had a single breach, so that's great. And yeah, everyone that's on that service absolutely loves it. I mentioned before we do get early access to some stuff out of ESET, so we get the trials first in the world. We get some information that only we have access to. So you'll see some examples of that soon. And then lastly, we as Chilisoft have been selling ESET since 2003. I have been selling ESET since 2006. I worked at an MSP in Auckland, so I've known ESET for a very, very long time myself now as well. Now, one of the things I quite like about ESET is, yeah, it is research, it's security, it's everything. It's sort of a whole ecosystem. It's not just antivirus on a PC. One of the things that their research team does is they publish these activity reports. There's about 3 or 4 different types, and they sort of rotate them different months and that sort of thing. But this particular one, APT, so that's basically the government-sponsored groups, APT standing for Advanced Persistent Threats. So the groups that are always trying to get in, connect in somewhere, whatever. And the full report's about 40 pages. I'm just going to show 2 examples today, just because I think they're interesting. Of course, all your usual countries, China, North Korea, Iran, etc. And the report goes through, shows particular verticals that people are targeting, a little bit about the group and so on. In this particular one, I'm sure we've all seen an email similar to this. Here's your airline tickets, welcome aboard for your journey sort of type thing. Now, the attachment here was a Word document, which hopefully most customers would think is a little bit weird, not a PDF, and also possibly haven't booked a Saudi flight in the first place. But what was the attack here? The attack was there was some stuff embedded into that Word document, of course. So when you opened it up, there was a Visual Basic script in there that pulled some more stuff down to the PC, and then it connected to the command and control server. Now, the reason why I'm highlighting this one, even though it seems like a very sort of standard style of attack that we've all seen a million times, one, we're launching our cybersecurity awareness training next week. So that's obviously going to help your users identify emails like this as being fake. 2, with that Visual Basic code, we would have detected it before the user had even got to it. So if you're using our Cloud Office security, we would have run that Word document through our Cloud Sandbox, seen about 80 different behavior types potentially, worked out that it's dangerous and not allowed the user to get access to that. Let's say you don't have that subscription with us. Let's say that you just have ESET on your PC. Then again, as soon as it comes to the PC, we would see that behavior and we would stop it. We've also got the brute force and network attack and other different types of technologies that would stop that connection to the command and control server as well. So yeah, quite a few different steps there along the way where ESET would have stopped it, this particular attack. Next one, North Korea. Now, this one I thought was actually pretty clever and quite unique. So again, similar sort of thing. The guide here runs through a couple of different verticals they attack, talks a little bit about what it is. Now, this particular one, they were pretending to have job listings from a number of different companies here. Binance is one that's known, and Coins in particular, Coinbase is there too. So yeah, interesting sort of start, if you like, here, I guess, of fake job listings. What we're actually trying to do, so trying to do what we call click fix social engineering. So something's broken, please click here to fix it. And this is something that ESET's actually written a full report about now as well, because it's really sort of expanded. So their particular thing was, great, you've applied for this job, that's marvelous. To make sure you get a good interview, make sure your microphone, your camera are good, in the right light, all that sort of stuff. And of course, pops up there saying that it's currently blocked. Please run the script. Now, anyone that knows anything about IT could probably figure that's not a good idea. And then, yeah, some more comments there talking about it and so on and what it actually did. What they were doing basically was getting info stealers onto the PC. And in particular, the reason why I've highlighted this is that I'm sure we all know Mac users out there that say, we're safe, nobody writes viruses for Mac. Specifically, it targeted the OS X keychain there to pull out the passwords from. And with Chrome, it could pull out passwords from your entire password store there. So interesting. And as I said, I've definitely highlighted there just because it's specifically Apple focused. So that full report, if you're interested, you can scan the QR code. If you think I'm going to take you to a funny YouTube video or whatever, then you can just Google that text there at the bottom. But basically, it's about 40 pages and it runs through a whole bunch of different types of threats and so on of what these groups out there are doing at the moment, and extra insights into them. Now, the other one that they launched just a couple of weeks ago was again talking about that click fix type thing. So this particular one there, capture on a website. Now, of course, that could be a legit website that's been taken over because they didn't, I don't know, update WordPress or something. Lots of different reasons there, but basically you click on that and then it says verification steps, Windows R, Control V, enter. Hopefully users would understand Control V. Hopefully they would read the text. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting one as well. So again, as I said, ESET's seen a huge rise in this, and it comes back a little bit to that user training as well of not clicking on this sort of stuff in the first place. So that particular report, again, you can Google it if you want, or you can go to that QR code, but all of these articles are published on welivesecurity.com by ESET, and they tend to blog about a lot of different things out there as well. So like the Marks and Spencer attack, that sort of stuff. They'll talk about it, you know, what's going on there, sort of version, if you like, of the analysis of it and more. Now, the interesting thing that we've got is that this is all global. You can go in your own time, read all these reports, and that's great. The interesting thing that we get out of their threat intelligence is actual threats in New Zealand. So this is stuff that's been seen on an endpoint with a license key that we've sold in New Zealand. So it is very much relevant data to us. And of course, you can see there phishing is by far and away the top. So I've got there two different groups of email threats and then all threats. And the reason why I've got that there is just to show you that they are very similar. And that's because we see by far and away the most threats in emails, as you'd probably expect. Now, of course, we've got our email scanning that we do natively inside the tenant. We connect in with an API. And that does an absolutely great job of preventing those emails coming to your people in the first place. Again, yes, you might have ESET on the PC, but you don't want the user to get that. What if they're using their phone? What if they're using a home PC with AVG on it that's not going to protect them at all? The whole point here is we want to detect that email and prevent the user from ever seeing it. Next one there, so Trojans, so much like that Saudi airline ticket one, where something comes to the PC first and then it tries to do something else. So, you know, download another bit of software or something. So again, the reason I'm showing this here is just because we saw that threat recently with the Saudi air ticket. But you can see there are quite a lot of different detection types, and some of them, like a PowerShell scripts there, that's going to be quite hard for someone to really know what it is. Maybe they just randomly click on it. They don't know what it is, but there's also someone there, you know, Word docs, PDF was on there last year, actually, is quite a big one. So again, it is, you know, relevant to sort of show that these attachments are coming in. So again, we want to stop that attachment. I mentioned before we've got that cloud sandbox in the email, so that's LiveGuard. So again, we've got that cloud sandbox. We'd scan that file before the user ever got to see it. If it did come to the PC, because you're not using the ESET Cloud Office Security, then again, LiveGuard would see that behavior on the PC and stop that process. And then we've also got Inspect that gives you extra sort of visibility. So that's our EDR or XDR tool, and that would give you visibility on the scripts tried to run this, it tried to modify the registry, tried to do this, a whole bunch of extra visibility that you don't get just with normal antivirus. But again, more on that soon once we get into the actual product suite. And then another sort of scary one, as I said, was Android. So yes, we protect the Android App Store. We saw a big spike, as you can see there, and we actually got calls to our help desk. So we're a little bit unique in that we do run a full help desk there, as well as our 24/7 SOC. Compared to a lot of the other brands, they don't have people in the country at all, so we're quite proud of that. But yeah, we got a big spike there. We got the calls, and ESET categorized that ad as bad. What's interesting is you'll see there that I've actually redacted the name. So ESET classified it as bad. If you had ESET installed on your Android device, it removed it and stopped the ads popping up all the time or taking over your homepage and so on. So ESET definitely viewed it as potentially unwanted, and that's what that PUA means there, potentially unwanted application. And then the security analyst that sent me all of this data a couple of days after that, he said, oh, can you please make sure you remove that name, because the advertising company is saying that it's legitimate. We're saying it's not. And basically, yeah, they don't want me to go around talking about who the actual vendor is of that ad. But interesting thing here, of course, yes, we've got mobile threat defense in the protect advanced and above tiers, and that was able to protect against that with no problems. There's also an interesting thing there as well, that now it's at the bottom, Spin OK Trojan. 2 years ago, it was about number 3. And that was another example of an app that was saying, you know, gambling app, sign up, get free spins on the roulette wheel, get this, get that kind of type thing. It was actually built by the Russians, and basically you gave it access to your clipboard, to your photos, to your text messages. So yeah, do you want the Russians with that? No. But again, just be careful with Android, basically, of where you get your apps from. And also, of course, you want to protect your clients as well. So now that I've mentioned a few people out there that do interesting things in the world, let's talk about Microsoft. So of course, every month they have their Patch Tuesday. Over here, of course, it's Patch Wednesday. But you'll see there that big spike last year. And that aligned perfectly with a bunch of vulnerabilities that they had fixed. So of course, when they fix a vulnerability, they also talk about what it is and what it does, how it could be exploited, and so on. And of course, you can see some of those groups around the world thought, great, let's just smash a port scan out to as many places as we possibly can. So that's what we're seeing there with that big spike there in RDP and SQL on that date. And if I look at the particular vulnerabilities here: 68 remote code execution, 31 elevation of privilege, 28 security feature bypass. So the things you don't want to have happen on your site, basically. Now, last year, they had the most vulnerabilities ever in a year, about 1,300. So, of course, this year, not to let us down, Microsoft started off really strong, 159 in January, and that trend has sort of continued. But if we look at the categories there, similar: elevation of privilege, remote code, all that sort of stuff that you really don't want. Now, there's one in particular that I wanted to highlight there. Obviously, the top one there's got quite a high score, but down the bottom there, another BitLocker flaw. So you can just do a quick search on YouTube for people getting around BitLocker. It's quite a well-known, widespread thing that people can do. But I thought this one was interesting too, where it wasn't properly sort of putting a laptop to sleep and encrypting the drive. So that age-old example of somebody left whatever it is, laptop on a bus or train or something, and then somebody's picked it up. Yeah, be aware with BitLocker, there's a chance that if you're going to go to sleep properly, you could take data off that system. So yeah, quick little run through there of some of the sort of threats and so on that we're seeing out there. And then now sort of moving across the product side of things a bit. So we launched this tool about 6 months ago now, and it's definitely sort of the highlight, if you like, and why we really want to get everybody onto the advanced product and above. There's only one other business product that's not on that list there, entry. So we're hoping to try and get people to upgrade from entry to advanced as part of this. Now, we've talked a lot about that sort of prevent and detect and so on. So again, we don't want that email to come to the user in the first place. We want to detect that behavior as it's starting to happen on the machine. And then, of course, now with the respond, we've got this ransomware remediation as well. So here's some examples of those layers of pre-execution, execution, and post. And I did mention the network attack protection there that's on the left, and the brute force attack protection on the left as well for some of those examples we talked about. But if you look there at execution layer, we've got ransomware shield. Now, we've had that for quite a few years. Basically, if we see an unknown process is modifying the contents of files, we stop that process and we kill it. And what will happen there is that the machine will pop up and say potential ransomware behavior. But now we can also roll back those files automatically there with that ransomware remediation. So as I said, launched about 6 months ago, included in advanced, and it's automatically enabled as well if you've got an advanced and above. And again, it's part of that sort of behavioral detection technology that we're just talking about. It says there works by creating secure backups of critical data. Now, it's not like volume shadow copy that does, say, 1 or 2 snapshots a day and chews up all of the space on the hard drive when it can. But what it does instead is it looks for an unknown process making a read on a file. As soon as it reads that file, it takes a snapshot then and there of the file. So it's just files being modified by an unknown application. So it's not going to take up huge amounts of drive space, which is important, of course. And again, because it's doing it when that read is happening, it means that it's current data. It's not like volume shadow copy or a backup that might be, you know, an hour, 8 hours, 12 hours old, whatever. So of course, yeah, completely automated. That's, I think, the great part of it. And then again, works alongside that ransomware shield product. Now, just before I go to the video of that, I've got one more slide of sort of information. So this is reported attacks. Now, of course, not all attacks get reported, I'm sure, but you can see there sort of 11 to 50 and then 51 to 200 are definitely the ones there with the biggest columns. I'm sure Ingram would be there on the far right at 10,000, but for all of us here, I guess the good majority of our clients are in that sort of space, and that's really why I wanted to highlight it there, just to say that, hey, it is actually happening to your clients out there. And then one more graph. An interesting one here. So Coveware, they're a research firm. They publish some interesting articles. They do one a quarter. And after this particular one, you'll see there it's a year old now. They actually removed that unknown line there. So if you look unknown back 2019, basically, you know, 0% sort of thing. But by this time last year, it was the biggest one. What does that mean? And why have they removed it? They removed it because having unknown at sort of 70% just simply looked a bit silly in their reports. But the reason for that is that it is that multiple vectors, which of course is one there as well. But it's the fact that the attacks are a lot more complex. You don't necessarily know where the first little foothold was on the environment. It might have been through VPN. If you're a Fortinet client, you'll know all about that, I'm sure. But lots of different ways people can get into a site, sit there dormant maybe for a while, and then they make their attack. And of course, if they've got full access, They can remove your backups, they can remove your logs, etc. And then that's when it becomes an unknown vector. So going into the ransomware remediation, what does it actually look and function like and all the rest of it? So here's the cloud console. Now, Lukesh will be doing some more demos on this later on, so I'm not going to spend much more time on it here, but basically this is what the cloud console looks like. All the business licenses come with this, and we're just going to quickly check the policy. So the policies is where you sort of centrally configure everything. Every single setting in ESET can be configured through the policy. So we're just going to look there and just confirm that it's on. And as I said, if you do have advanced licenses and above, it's already been turned on automatically, so don't worry about that. You can change the file extensions there and exclude folders. That's about it. In the long term, there will be a few more settings around the size of files and whatnot else you'll be able to change. Then here's our PC that we're going to ransom. So we've got some Word documents there. And when we run it, you'll see it's only about the top, I think, sort of 8 or so actually get ransomed. The bottom ones don't, and that's because we've detected the ransom type behavior and we've blocked it with a ransomware shield. So you'll see there's some there have changed to .locked, and we've got that potential ransomware behavior there. But not all of the ones at the bottom there were actually modified. And then in another little bit, you'll see now restored. So there's the underscore restored.docx, and then there's the .locked ones there. And of course, ESET's telling us, yes, we've seen this behavior. We've killed that particular part, that particular process, and then here's all the files that we've restored. So as you can see, it's effectively automatic. The user doesn't need to do anything. Of course, they'll probably give you a call after they see that message because it's probably scared them a little bit. The reason why we keep the locked ones there, by the way, is so that you can send them to us to send off to ESET to analyze further. We might already have like the unlock code or something like that. There might be machines on the network that didn't have the ransomware shield on them or something like that. And as you can see there, we can go back into that file and all the data was there. And then from sort of an admin perspective, we'll go there to the most recent one, and you'll see there in a little bit.
Advanced and above, right?
Yep. You'll see the anti-ransomware scanner, and then restored files gives you a list of the restored files. So we went first there was detections, which is sort of global detections for every PC in the environment. And then now we're just going into that particular PC. And you'll see there we've got that particular detection with those restored files. So yeah, quick little run through there of it. We do have this video hosted on our website. So if you do want to send the link off to a customer or run them through this particular feature, yeah, feel free to. And yeah, I think it's actually a pretty cool feature, to be honest. It's everyone that we've sort of spoken to about it has said, hey, that's great, I really like it. And we've seen quite a few people say, oh, we can see that this makes sense. We want to upgrade more of our clients to advanced now and above. Now, coming back to the product set, so I did mention there is entry that doesn't have ransomware rollback, but the good majority of the business licenses do, as you can see there. And I've got this slide, I have it up a couple of times through this presentation, just sort of recap. So don't worry too much if you can't remember it all now. But basically what we're going to do is run through a product that we've turned off a little while ago now called Essential. So you've been able to order Essential for about a year now as a new license, but you've still been able to do renewals of it. And it's been a no marketing material like these sorts of slides for quite a long period of time now. So basically we're discontinuing it. The answer there is that it doesn't have as much filtering as what we want. So it doesn't have the firewall, which means we can't do the network attack and the brute force protection as an example. It doesn't have web and device control, so we can't block categories of websites, block flash drives being plugged in, etc., etc. So quite a lot of missing tech basically. And then what are the details there? So from the 4th of November, you won't be able to buy a new license of it at all. You won't be able to renew, you won't be able to do anything basically. The answer here is what happens. We basically move you up to entry. So entry is the very next one above it. Now, there's one particular note. After the 4th of November, any upgrade in quantity will also require an upgrade in tier. So that means if you've got a client with 10 seats today, great, their license expires, let's say April next year, no problems. They call you in January and go, we've got 2 new people starting this year. That means you need to upgrade their license from 10 seats to 12 seats and from Essential to Entry and pay for that price at the time. So just be aware of that. I don't think it's going to be a huge dollar value, and there's probably not too many clients that that's a concern for, but yeah, definitely just one little gotcha to be aware of there. Now the numbers there, as you can see, there's not too many Essential. Even when I started, I think we had more than 100,000 seats of Essential, and the good majority of customers have moved away from it now. Also, when I started about 2.5 years ago, we had about 4,000 seats of complete. And as you can see, that shot up to 63,000. I know some of you here in the room do a lot of complete, and I think it's an absolutely great bundle for sort of your typical 10 to 25, 30 seat businesses out there. Now, discounts, how we're sort of launching this, if you like. So everything with ESET works on a ratio. That means if your customer's invoice for Essential was $800 last year, this year normally it would be $1,000 for entry and so on. And then here's some extra numbers there. I know it's a lot of numbers on one page, but basically the summary is we're increasing it by 5% a year for them as they move to entry. If they chose to upgrade to advanced, then we're doing it about 10% per year. It will vary slightly due to rounding, but the whole point here is that if somebody's still stuck on Essential, it means you haven't talked to them about the value of the other products that we have in the range. And that client probably isn't going to sort of just take the 20% charge, if you like, the difference between Essential and entry. So that's what we've tried to do there to make it as sort of affordable as possible there for your clients. Now, one other thing is I mentioned about the cloud license portal, that every license has it, but you'll see there 60% of Essentials still don't have the cloud management. That effectively means you're installing ESET on them once probably, and then not touching that machine again. So how do you know if there is detections on it? How do you know if there's something else that's not quite right on it for whatever reason? So that's why I've got this slide here, and then Lukesh in a second will run through what that all looks like. But basically, Protect is the cloud management console. It's included in all of them. You can run on-prem if you want. Now, we do a lot of work with the Fijian government departments, and they do a lot of on-prem because their internet there is a little bit average at times, and they're nervous about their data being in a different country. It is multi-tenant there, and it is ISO certified as well. It's the exact same console whether you've got 5 seats or 100,000. For us, we see a lot of our partners have got 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 seats in there, and it doesn't matter if it's one client or 50. And you can also give specific access to a client as well. Now, I know some resellers have turned on different Protect instances for all of their clients. I don't see that there's a need for that at all. You could give that admin at a particular client access into the console. They can see just their machines, nobody else's. And also if you've got, say, salesmen or accounts people or whatever that want to count up machines or send out reports or whatever, you can give them read-only access as well. So I'm going to pick on Aaron just because I know him, but if Aaron wants to deliver a list of Windows 10 machines to his clients, maybe John doesn't trust him. John's one of the other guys at his company, doesn't trust him to have write access to the console, gives him read access. He can log in, he can pull out a list of all the Windows 10 machines and then go and bug his clients to upgrade. So that's just an example of something you could do with the console. Now, entry that I talked about is sort of what we're upgrading people to. And of course, there's lots of words there, but effectively it is the standard antivirus product. It is one license for server or endpoint, and that endpoint can be Linux, Mac, whatever, we don't really mind. So yeah, a whole bunch of all those parts of the technology you saw on that chart before are all included as part of entry. So even though it's got that name and it is the bottom tier now, it still does have a huge amount of technology in it, and it is a great product. Above that, we've got advanced. Now you'll see there ransomware remediation is highlighted there. Obviously, we've just run through that video, so I'm not going to talk about it again, but you do get mobile licensing. So that one there at the top right, each seat of advanced has a mobile license as well to allow you to manage the mobiles. It's not tied to the user. So if you've got 10 users in the office and then 2 courier drivers, for example, and they've got tablets, just buy 10 seats, and then you can pop the mobile licenses onto those particular devices. You'll see the cloud sandboxing at the bottom right. Of course, I've already talked about that. Looks at 80 different behaviors on an unknown file, decides if it's safe or if it's dangerous. And then we've also got the disk encryption there. So I mentioned before, BitLocker's had a number of flaws over the years. The other advantage of ours is that it does work on Macs, using and controlling the built-in Mac encryption. And it also is all in one tenant. So a lot of people have had problems with BitLocker where they can't decrypt because they've lost the code or they didn't set it up initially. The tenants, 365 tenants had changed, other sort of problems. So ESET helps with that as well. Now, I'm just going to hand over to Lukesh now. We're just going to run through sort of some of the visibility dashboarding and so on that you get. We've got a new feature called policy auditing that came out a couple of months ago. So we're going to run through that as well. And then we've also got a mobile video too, just to cover off the fact that Advanced has got that mobile license in it as well.
Just a minute, guys.
Where's that stuff?
Yeah, through the door and sort of a little down the way.
Okay, sorry. Lots of things. So yeah, I'm going to log into a couple of consoles there and show you around the new changes that ESET has brought in on the new Protect platform. So just let me log. Cool. So you will notice how they have like redone some of the widgets over there. So now they have also started including like the case or the incident widgets from coming from the XDR side of the consoles. So if you have like an elite or enterprise customer that wants to take advantage of like the ESET platform, they can basically log in and have a quick look at the cases that have been raised in the inspect or the XDR console. For each incident, there's like the detection that gets attached to it. For example, like say rename PowerShell command execution, and also like all the bits and pieces, like what machine it has been seen on, so on and so forth. You can from here also respond to the incident. For example, if you wanted to like say kill the process or kill the or block the executable, you can just directly do it from here. And then you can log it into the inspect, which is the XDR console, and take further investigative steps. Like you can run like remote commands from there, isolate that device, and yeah, do your further investigation. But now we have started including that functionality in the ESET Protect console as well. And from the same like the same screen, you can actually change the status of the case. Yeah, and then you can also assign it to your like say colleagues or like whoever SOC analyst is that is currently working on that particular customer. So that's one of the new changes that ESET has brought in on the ESET Protect platform. They have moved a bit of stuff around. You will notice now it has started including the vulnerabilities widgets as well. And they have also included the new ESET vulnerability and patch management dashboard. Again, I'll show you more like the one with the stats and stuff when we talk about VAPM, but this is one of the new changes that they have brought in. The other thing which they have done is they have renamed policies to configuration. So if you're trying to find where your policies are, just look for configuration. We always had audit log functionality baked into the product, but when you were making changes to like say a policy or configuration, you were not able to see which user made what exact change, but it would tell you like, say Brad made a change to the Android policy, but it won't tell you exactly which setting was modified. So now what we can do is say, for example, I go into that endpoint policy and make a change there. Now it will tell me exactly like which ones or which options the person has made a change at. For example, let's go disable manual submission of files, go finish. I can now click on the policy, go audit log, and it will tell me like who modified it, the user, which is myself. I think, sorry, that's the July 23rd, not today. Let me refresh it. Let's go back. Yeah, August 6th, that's the one I was looking for. And I can then go show changes. And under the show changes, it will tell me exactly which one has changed. So there is a small sort of like a caution icon. So it tells you exactly what has been modified. And then it highlights like I've disabled that. So that's one of the new changes. We have also got like dynamic groups and static groups and like reports that you can start taking advantage of. Let me just go into the report section. We have also created like a vulnerability and patch management executive summary report. So now we have a dedicated vulnerability and patch management section, and you can go through like say the patch management overview or the vulnerability scans overview reports then. We do keep on modifying these report templates. And whenever you're trying to find like what changes ESET has made in this particular release, under the help, you can click what's new, and it will exactly tell you what are the new things that has been added with this release. Okay. And of course, you can like learn more about it from here. And yeah, because sometimes I know like whenever you're logging into the console, you're like wanting to get stuff done and you ignore the screen. So this is how you can get back to it, which is like help and go like what's new. If you're trying to set up reports, for example, say top computer problems, hopefully there's none. Yeah, no data to be displayed. I'm all good with it. But you can schedule the reports out. And in each schedule, you can like add more report templates. And you, for example, I can keep on adding like say antivirus detection and the other bits and pieces. And once I'm happy with all the reports that I've selected, I can filter it out by a customer as well. So that's a handy feature to have. I can filter all the reports for test customer 2 there. And now I can schedule it out on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. As example, I can also do some more advanced scenarios. I can go like whenever, say, a member of the dynamic group changes. If you're wondering what are dynamic groups are these blue folders. These work on conditions. So yeah, if you can think of a use case, for example, like Brad mentioned, if you're trying to filter out like all the Windows 10 devices for a particular customer, you can create a dynamic group under that particular customer level. And then you can target that group. Whenever the dynamic group members change, it will fire out the report to you. It could also be like if there's more than 10 detections for this particular client, then you receive the report for it. So there are some advanced scenarios that you can take advantage of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the policy, can you actually do a comparison when one policy with the other to see what the difference is?
Yes, yes.
You can?
Oh, you mean comparison between the two policies?
Yes.
No, sorry, you can't do that. For that, there would be like a manual comparison. Yeah, you'll need to open both the policies and then go through the settings there. Yeah.
So you can't even print the policy unless you have to open two
Two windows. Yeah, yeah. Two windows of the console. Yeah. Yeah, no comparison of the policies there. But yeah, if that is like a market requirement, we can definitely raise it up with ESET. And
it'll be
yeah.
like you would have a standard policy or even
Hmm.
best recommended policy, because your policy has so many, something you don't know what
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
From what version to new version.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why we included that audit log trail. So now you can take advantage of that audit log. So whenever there's a new changes that have been implemented, you can click on the policy and go audit log, and it will tell you exactly what changes were done. So if it's not the user, if it's ESET, it will say author was ESET. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's a new.
Yeah. For the pre-built policies, like if there's some changes, yeah, it will say like what changes has been done. Cool. Any other questions before we quickly move forward? Oh, okay. Yeah. Just under the platform modules, now you can take advantage of these different buttons. So if you wanted to enable, like say, LiveGuard, full disk encryption, VAPM, and stuff like that, you can basically just say enable, select the target. So it could be like say your targeted customer there. But yeah, once you select that, you can then pretty much accept the terms and condition and hit enable. For VAPM and for LiveGuard, you can also do like auto enablement. So there's a checkbox, and whenever the customer is onboarded, they automatically get all these features turned on. But yeah, that's like a quick little update about the ESET Protect platform. I can take questions, or we can jump into the MDM side of the things.
Or maybe that is coming now. Is it also possible to protect iPhones with an endpoint protection?
For iOS and iPad OS, there's no dedicated like endpoint security product. Like if there's a vendor out there that says there's a security product for it, they're lying, because that's how the Apple ecosystem works. But we can do full-blown MDM for it. If you want, I can quickly jump into it. But I was about to showcase the Android one first, and then I would pivot to the iOS one. Yeah.
No worries.
Cool. Yeah, for the Android one, basically this is a pre-recorded demo. What I'm showcasing here is I've got no Android phone currently like reporting into this console, like they are not being managed. But for that Mango customer, if I wanted to like enroll a mobile device, I can just go add a device, button there, hit Android, generate the QR code. I can also send it out as an email, so that's always an option. But basically, if I pull up an Android phone, scan the QR code, it will take me to the MDM enrollment page, and then I can go, yep, connect. Once I hit that, it will go to the Play Store, download the mobile application. This bit is like fast forwarded there. But basically, it will ask you for a bunch of permissions. Once you've given all of that, it will take you to the ESET homepage saying you are protected. And then you can manage everything from the ESET Protect console. So this is the screen I was talking about earlier. You are protected now. And if I say minimize that TeamViewer session into my Android phone and say refresh the console, you would notice the Android phone has started replicating into the console there. And on the side panel, you can see there's like it's already licensed. It is running the latest version of the product. So it's very easy to actually deploy the MDM product. And in order to manage it, we have got like a dedicated Android policy that you can configure. So for example, you can make changes to the antivirus bit, like you can turn on the unwanted unsafe application detection. Unwanted application is a bloatware, shows you like a lot of roles advertisement. Android application are notorious for doing that, so you can turn on the protection for it. Unsafe application is your bloatware. Sorry, not bloatware, it's your legitimate applications that can be used maliciously, such as a process hacker. But yeah, you can turn on those detection. You can also do automatic scan whenever, let's say, the phone is plugged into charging. You have anti-theft controls baked into it. You have got full-blown application control. So you can pick and choose what application automatically gets installed. And you can also like block certain kind of application based on name, package, category, permissions, or from unknown sources. Again, Android allows you to download APKs and install it. But currently, social was blocked. I'm also blocking game. And then we can later see this policy in action when I apply to the mobile device. For web protection, it blocks unprotected browsers automatically. You can do anti-phishing controls. You can do full-blown web control. You can block like certain URLs or certain categories of websites. So currently blocking adult material there, criminal activities, file sharing, but you can pick and choose your and customize it for your particular customers. You can also customize the message that pops up on the end user screen when they have been blocked. We do have SMS and call filter. We have got full-blown device security, like you can restrict the camera usage. You can put in like what type of screen lock policy controls you want. You can also monitor like when the Wi-Fi is turned off or the location is turned off. You can do like block USB debugging mode there as example. And some more system updates management. You can also put in like administrative password, and you can also do like a local admin password for the local IT guy on the ground. And they can basically like say override it for like say 1 hour, 2 hour, or whatever time frame you specify. But yeah, once you're happy with the configuration, you can apply it to the phone, and then we can now pull up the phone and see it in action. So currently it's blocking all those applications, which is like games and social, which are blocked through the policy. It gives me the option to remove it all. Say if I do not remove it and try to open up again, it will give me the option to remove that particular application or look into the information. And seeing we were blocking the adult material, if I try and go to like say adult website there, I do get blocked, and you do get that custom message that you've configured earlier in that policy. So again, it's fully customizable. You can actually go through it. For the iOS side of the things, let me just go back into the console quickly, just a minute. So that's the MDM for iOS and iPadOS. If this text is too small, I'll zoom in. But basically, you might notice the sections look a bit less. but that's a passcode. But under restrictions, you have got like a bunch more like subsections that you can take advantage of. So you can do like, do you want to allow screenshots? Do you want to allow the use of camera, Siri, lock screen? Do you want to allow installation for application from the App Store? Do you want it to automatically like update it? Do you want to allow removing of application and stuff like that? For most of these, there's a tag in there which says ABM. So ABM is the Apple Business Manager. So if you have ABM, only then you can take advantage of these sections here. Okay. There's a bit to choose from. Like you can do like, do you want to allow AirPrint? Do you want to like allow disabling of iCloud or allow the backup to the iCloud? Some more security and privacy. Do you want to like treat AirDrop as an unmanaged destination there? Or do you want to require Touch ID or Face ID authentication before like autofilling stuff? So you can pick and choose all of this. You can also block AirDrop in total if you want to. But yeah, there's a bunch more options to pick and choose from. If there's a certain use case that you want me to probably look at, I can just quickly search for it. But you can also do like application control there as well. Do you want to like say allow the use of Safari? Do you want to do like a restrict the application usage there? I can go allow all apps, or I can go don't allow the listed apps, and then I can build out that list, and these apps will be blocked, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I can control the Safari settings, and I can also defer the software update. So maybe if I don't want Brad to go to the iOS 26, which is the beta version of the new update, I can just block him off. But yeah, that's basically everything that you can do with ESET Protect Console. If there's some use case that you think we don't cover, or if you have any questions, feel free to raise it up now or just drop me an email and we can get back to you with all that information.
So you're saying you've got to actually sign up for ABM as well?
Yes.
As first.
Yeah.
Okay.
For some of it, not all of it. So for some sections, like for some settings, you see that ABM tag. So like for these three, of course, you'll need ABM. But yeah, maybe your use case doesn't require the ABM account. So just go through the policy, or maybe just raise it up with us and we can help you like find out, do you require the ABM use or not? Yeah.
Is that additional cost, right? ABM.
I'm not sure. Like I've never spun up an ABM account. I can find that out. Yeah. Probably there is. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
It's Apple.
And is that written by Apple or
Sorry?
what?
there's no additional cost, but there's a lot of
Configuration.
there's a lot of
Oh,
administration.
okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta have the ID for the customer.
Yeah.
You've got to have an ID.
Yeah.
And then you've got to enroll the device.
The Apple ID, right?
Well, yeah, you've got to enroll the device.
Yeah.
And so when you've got a whole lot of existing stuff, there's a lot of work.
Maybe one question.
Yep.
You showed us at the application section.
Yeah.
That you can do. I thought it was a blacklist. Is it
Yeah.
also possible at the iPhone to provide a whitelisting?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I didn't see that, but it wasn't fast maybe.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So it's in the in that policy. Where was it? I totally missed that under application. Yeah. So restrict app usage. If I go edit, so that's allow all apps. Don't
Okay,
allow
I
listed
see.
apps, or allow only the listed application, and then you can do the whitelisting. Yeah.
Okay, and this is possible only with ABM. I see that. Or is that-
Oh, sorry.
But of course, that's an Apple limitation, obviously.
Okay.
Yes, that's an ABM
What a pity. Yeah.
and 9.3 and above. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Yes.
Just, we had an incident, probably a few years ago where a customer coming in with a phone. I can't remember whether it's iPhone or
Yeah.
an Android, but it's popping up ads, and then within that ads is actually important and a beeping at the time.
Yeah.
Would ESET handle that?
Yes, ESET will handle this, definitely on Android. For iOS, like I said, there's no like security product for it, and I've not seen an iPhone behave in that matter. Because
Android.
yeah, I'm pretty sure Android does behave like that. Like if you download some like say dodgy application or like a cracked version of an application, it does come up with like some notorious stuff baked into it.
Yeah,
But yeah, you can like disallow like installation of application from unknown sources. You can block those unwanted and unsafe application. It will automatically kill it. And again, those web control that I showed you, if it is connecting to like say another website in the background, it will automatically kill that communication as well. Yeah.
will it identify in the console, say this is a suspicious application?
Yes, it will. Yeah, definitely will. Yeah. If you have an Android phone, we can chuck one on your phone.
Not nice.
Raymond doesn't want us to see all that.
Sorry, going back into the console. Oh, sorry, presentation.
I guess yes, it's everything that we've shown so far is just an entry in advanced, and advanced, of course, has got a lot of those extra features. So while I think advanced is quite good value, it's complete that we sell more of, and we have more people upgrading to complete. We've had quite a few people that have jumped straight from entry to complete, or they sort of standardize on it as what they want for all of their clients to have. Now going back to those threat slides that we saw before, if you look at the bottom right there, we know email is the number one way that threats come in. And then those vulnerabilities number 2. So this is really where Protect sort of helps you a lot. Now, if you look there at the boxes on the right, top one there, email and cloud. So basically 365 and Google. Because we connect in with an API, it's super quick to set up. 5 minutes to connect into a client, pick some mailboxes and run a trial. Or, then of course that allows you to convert it to a full one when you give them reports to say how much the users received that we blocked. We do protect on-prem exchange as well, but obviously the market for that's fairly small now, so that's that box on the right there in the middle. And then on the left here, we've got the vulnerability and patch management. Now, the key thing there, I know a lot of people might be thinking, well, I've got an RMM and that already does it. And you might have seen a lot of what we just showed you before with ESET. A lot of it does look a little bit like an RMM as well. The key thing is an RMM will often patch, say, 40, 60, 80 applications, something like that. We patch over 1,000. Then also we're looking at it from a vulnerability perspective. So it was always designed to be vulnerabilities first and foremost. And the great example that we had with that was right at the start, we set it up for a reseller. They had a machine at a client that was a Lenovo machine. It was originally running Windows 7. It had been in place upgraded to Windows 10 and then flicked out the door as the successful lease PC. Lenovo's Acrobat install at the time was Acrobat XI. So really, really old. And when the reseller called us, he goes, oh, we've got like 10,000 vulnerabilities on this one machine. And ESET's done a great job of patching all the rest, and the vulnerability numbers have gone down. But what's happening? So we logged in and saw that the CVE numbers were from 2012 and 2013. Thought, well, that's very old, that's a bit weird. And we found out that ESET had updated Acrobat to the newest version, but it was so old that this old one was still there. And the RMM that this IT company was using had never been able to patch the old one either, so it had just been sitting on there. So of course we went to remove it, and then we realized that the lady still had that as the default PDF handler. So then we had to remove it and change it to be the new one. So that's an example of why an RMM can do patching well. Yes, sometimes they don't work that well, but also they're not looking at it from a vulnerabilities perspective. And that's really sort of ESET's focus. This is not so much patching to keep things running quickly and efficiently for you, but it's more reduce the security risks in an environment. Now going into cloud office security a little bit more. So as it says there, key attack vector, we know that we saw those numbers there in New Zealand. It's included in Complete and Leap. You can buy it separately as well if you want to, but normally people are just going straight up to Complete with this. Now I've got some numbers there. So again, I was already talking bad about Microsoft before, but that's another example. So this is purely in 365, purely after Microsoft's filtering. We see, even with Business Premium or one of the other plans with security, we still see a huge amount of stuff get through their filtering. So yeah, email threats there, meaning malware and attachments, 800,000 phishing, and then over 50 million spam emails. So big numbers there. Lifeguard, again, I mentioned this before, somebody's using their PC at home and it's got AVG on it. Obviously, it's not protected. We all know AVG is rubbish, but that machine's affected by a virus, and then that tries to modify files in your OneDrive, Teams, and SharePoint, or upload new copies of itself or whatever. We would detect that as part of the Cloud Office security. So another great feature there. Or of course, you might have external contractors, a whole bunch of different reasons why that's relevant. Microsoft also don't provide protection against spam internally. If you set up a new domain name, set up a trial account on 365, you can spam out 365 people as much as you want, and basically all of the spam will get through. If you have an attachment virus.exe on that email, it probably won't, but basically you can spam 365 people as much as you want. So that's another reason why we think an extra layer of protection here is quite important. Now I mentioned before about different ways people could access mailboxes. Obviously, mailboxes are accessed via OWA, say on a home machine or on mobile. And of course, again, you've got that problem of you can't hover over the link, or you can't look at the sender address quite as easily. So again, we want to detect this email and stop it before the user ever gets to see it. So going back to the prevent sort of aspect I spoke about before. Now, new features, SPF DMARC DKIM rules and a full rule set as well has been launched. So in the past, it was sort of protection, you configured your spam and malware and so on, but now we've got full detection and rules that we can do as well, and customizable email banners too. So you could say, if the email failed its DMARC check, or rather the domain did, sorry, you could just have square bracket spoofed in the email title. You could put a big red banner saying this has been potentially spoofed. Lots of different things you can do there. Now, homoglyph, what does that actually mean? Here it is on the next page there. So you'll see that top one there, Google, the first one sort of like a small capital G, and then the second G is sort of what you'd think of as a normal lowercase g. So that's what homoglyph detection does. Now, it is intelligent. It's not just, Google, Amazon, and Facebook. So our domain, of course, we've got I's and L's in our domain. If somebody made a new domain that was Chilisoft but with a 1 in it, replacing one of those characters, this would detect that as well. And then, again, that rule set comes in then. So maybe the rule is to block that email, maybe it's to move it to junk, maybe it's to put square bracket spoofed in the subject line. So lots of different options there. Now, the reporting is quite powerful as well. So I said before, the idea of you do a trial with somebody. Because it's only 5 minutes, you're not changing MX records and doing all that other sort of work. Connect in with admin credentials, choose the mailboxes or choose the user groups that you want to protect. Just let it run for 30 days. At the end of it, you'll see a report like this, and that's exactly what we did. So I think it was about the 5th of November, we turned it on, let it run for a month, and when we're in the console as well, we told the report to run at the end of the month. So they got that through. There's more pages to it. It also tells you the individual users that had the threats or the spam or the whatever it was sent to them. And of course, it gives you all of those detection names there as well. So very powerful for the customer to receive the report to get, Dave got 4 viruses that we detected. And of course, sometimes Dave is the dumbest person in that environment. You didn't want him to get any of those messages he might have clicked. So yeah, very powerful when it's your own users, I guess. So a great way to sell the upgrade to complete. Next module there, the patch management. Now I did talk about this a bit before, so I'll go through this one fairly quickly. But again, the key thing here is that vulnerabilities first. Now, you've always been able to filter, group, and sort, as you can see there, based on their severity. But now you can change patching policy a little bit too. So we sort of built out more features. It used to be basically sort of turn it on, patch everything, or do specific exclusions. But now it's a lot more detailed on what you can do around time to patch, machines that are offline, forcing them, all that sort of stuff. And you'll see the result patching for new application version without vulnerabilities. To be honest, that doesn't happen very much. But now I guess it's sort of replacing that RMM sort of feature set completely. You can patch based on score. So if the score is, say, above 60 or above 70, patch. If it's below that, don't patch. And you can trial it now as well. So yeah, a couple of extra advantages there in the last little bit. And again, as we saw before with the ransomware graph and various other things, we know that breaches are often because of vulnerabilities. Again, I mentioned anyone here does Fortinet, you'll know all about that with your constant VPN problems that they seem to have. Now I'm going to hand over to Lakesh again, just to run through these modules and some of the changes. And for some of this, it's actually a pre-recorded video too.
Right. Yeah, let's see if I can actually play through it. Yep. So let's go through the anti-spoofing feature first. So now we have incorporated like the rule section under the policy for ESET Cloud Office Security. So if you're creating a new policy or modifying an existing one, we have that email rule option baked into the console now. This is where you can come in and basically create a rule to detect like certain things that you're after. For example, if I wanted to put in a rule, if the email is coming from a sender, take this particular action, or if there's something in the attachment or in the body or in the subject, like there's a bunch to pick and choose from. I can also pre-evaluate if the malware scan result is say malicious, I can take an action to straight away quarantine it or drop that email and stuff like that. Currently, what we are doing is we are looking for the DMARC check. So if the DMARC record or if the DMARC check has failed, then what to do? In this scenario, we're adding a subject prefix, which is called spoofed. So it will add that subject prefix and basically then, like say, quarantine that particular message. You can also like send it to junk if you don't want to quarantine it. But yeah, basically you can pick and choose what you want to do with such kind of like emails that are coming in. For those of you who don't know, like the SPF DKIM and DMARC checks allows you to like stop people like spoofing the email. For example, we are trying to send out an email as if we are Steve Jobs from Apple, right? So the from email address here is steve.jobs@apple.com, and we're sending it to our on.microsoft account. But basically, if I hit send, so once this is sent, under the ESET Cloud Office Security, I'm just going to hit refresh there on the top right. And you would notice the top one now says spoofed. That's a spoofing demo. So all the scan results on the right-hand side says it's clean, like anti-malware is clean, anti-phishing, anti-spam and everything. Everything is clean there. It's just that that rule got triggered purely because that sender is not authorized to send on behalf of apple.com. And that's why we added spoofed in that subject line. And of course, we added the quarantine section. So now it has also been quarantined. I can look at the headers and yeah, basically do my investigation from here. Like I can download the email and further look into it. So that's the end of video here, but there's a new couple of things that have been added. Now you can add like banners to the email. So you can have like a red banner or like an amber banner, and you can put in your own custom text as well if you don't want to add a subject prefix. And under the quarantine, we have now also started doing preview of the email. So not just the headers. Alongside headers, we can now preview the email directly under the quarantine section. So you don't need to like download the email. Now you can just basically look at that. I can also show it to you when we look at the console. But moving on, we have also started doing the email clawback feature. Let's see if it actually plays. Yeah. So well, yeah, sometimes the emails, once they have been delivered to the end user, you want to like pull them back. Maybe this was not intended for that person to receive it. So now what you can do is under the scan logs, you can pick and choose the email that you would want to pull back. And once you have selected that email, you can just go quarantine, and it will pull it back from the inbox and chuck it into the quarantine section here. So yeah, that could be like maybe there was like a false negative and you want to like investigate it. You can pull it back, look through it. You can filter out all those emails and start doing your investigation. Raise that sample with us if it's a false negative. But yeah, basically we have that pullback feature now. And once you have done your investigation, and if you've deemed it as like safe, you can again also choose to release it. So that's one of the new options.
Are you able to tell if it's been opened between when it's been gone through and pulled back?
Unfortunately not. Yeah, but it will tell you like it has been delivered, and yeah, I won't be able to. Maybe I'll look through the logs and see if there's an option.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You can do it.
yeah, I'll let you know. Yeah. Any
Now,
questions?
find this, if I send you an email.
Yes.
And I'm able to pull it back.
Not you, like our administrators, so our support team or me. I can go into the ESET Cloud Office Security and I can go like, I don't want to see that email in my inbox. I can just pull it back into the quarantine section of our tenant. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
And that feature is only possible with Exchange when it's connected to Exchange.
Exchange or Google Workspace.
Okay.
So for Office 365 and Google Workspace.
Yeah,
So it was
IMAP and POP3 or it's nothing. It's not possible for that.
No. Yeah. Yeah, I think it might work for IMAP, but I'm not sure about POP3 though. Definitely not for POP3. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And one last thing I quickly wanted to show around is earlier we had all these dedicated dashboards for Exchange, for OneDrive, Teams, SharePoints, and stuff like that. And if you wanted to see stats from each of these different applications, you had to like click on each dashboards. But now you can have like a custom dashboard, right? So that was something new that was added in. So in this custom dashboard, you can pick and choose your own widgets. So one could be from SharePoint, the other could be from Teams. So yeah, you can start adding those widgets in, and then you can also like restructure them. So you can resize them as per your liking and just have it display on your like screen in the office if that is something of interest. Or maybe set that as your like home dashboard. Like whenever you log into the console, straight away you'll get those stats available to you. So that was something like new that was added into the Cloud Office Security. Yeah. Any questions regarding those ones? Yeah, it's just gonna like now resize the widgets, and that's basically it. Yeah, so that was something new that was added. Let's see what else. Oh, I think that's a VAPM video, but what I'll do is I'll show you this in the console. So I've already shown you how you can like look at the vulnerability and patch management, like a bits and pieces, like whatever is new with VAPM. Like you have the VAPM dashboard, you have the VAPM reports that I showcased in the previous demo. So I'll just quickly show you the one with some data in it. For example, in this environment, we have 339 like high risk vulnerabilities, and that's the dedicated dashboard for it. You can also filter it out for like a customer in your MSP environment. So that comes very handy. And from here, you can basically look at, say, your top vulnerable computers or top vulnerable application for whatever customer you have selected, or if you have not selected one, it will be on a global stage. You can also look at the, like, say, top outdated application there as examples. If you want to look at, like, say, any application vulnerability, you can just simply click on it. It will filter those out for you. Let me just zoom in a bit. Yeah. Each vulnerability again gets that like the whole information, like risk score, CVE number, when it was first seen in the environment. If you click on the set vulnerability, it brings out the side panel view. I'm just trying to expand that just a minute. Oh, come on. Yeah, that's why I don't like extending my screen. Oh, got it finally. But yeah, basically you get all that information there on the right. That risk score is like dynamic in nature because it looks at that international CVSS number or the rating, and then it also looks at the ESET threat intelligence. So if that vulnerability is actively being exploited out there in the wild, it will bump up that risk score, right? And this can come in handy because you can now have it set to automatically patch an application if it meets a certain risk score. So if it goes like 70 and above, it will automatically patch it for you. So you can bake it that way. So that was like one of the new changes that's now incorporated in the policies. So for example, if I go into settings and create a common feature policy, this is where I can start controlling stuff. So yeah, it works on Linux, Windows, and Mac. Like whatever option doesn't work on the operating system, it won't get highlighted. For example, automated patch management is only available for Windows and Mac OS, but for Linux, there's manual patching, right? You can also do OS auto updates, but that's again Windows only. You can do computer restart options. So if a patch requires a restart, you can also get it to restart, give the end user some window to postpone that restart. You can also do that vulnerability and patch management schedule. So you can pick and choose when it runs that scan, how frequent it runs. If you want to do it on a daily basis, go weekly and select all the days. So it will run daily. You can also choose in that window, do you want it to run once, twice, thrice, like whatever your number is, you can chuck it in there. For whatever reason, say if the patch is not installed, you can do a forced patch installation. This could be like, say, Microsoft Teams requires it to be shut down to allow that patch to be applied. So after 3 days, it will force close that Microsoft Teams and then apply the patch for you. So that comes very handy. And over there, you can also, again, give them, like, say, or end user, like, say, 5 hours to, again, postpone that action. And after 5 hours, it will definitely close it and patch it for you. You have that minimum disk space requirement. You can't go lower than 2 gigs, but you can go higher. You can pick and choose like how you want to like patch the application. Do you want to do patch only the allowed application or everything except the excluded application? Basically, whatever you pick and choose there, you can build out that corresponding list. So it's an extensive list of applications that we cover. It's about 1,500 different applications that we do. Yeah, so feel free to browse through it. You can add a filter on the top and yeah, quickly search for it as well. For example, we do cover PuTTY. Yeah, so you can pick and choose. We even cover PuTTY for ARM-based processors as well, which most of the RMM tools don't. Let me just go cancel. And this was the new section that was added in. Now we can also apply patches for whereas it is not fixing a vulnerability. So if there's a new version of the application that has come out, this can help you just install that new version. So it's not just patching, it's also now updating the application. If I go, like say patch or apply only patches that are fixing a known vulnerability, then I can go minimum risk score. And this is where that risk score that I talked about comes in handy. So if the risk score is over 70, then it will automatically patch it for me. But you can again customize it as per your requirement. The last option there is OS auto updates. Again, this is only for Windows, but you can basically go all supported updates, the important and critical ones, or just the critical ones. So you can pick and choose. So yeah, that's the latest for the VAPA. I can take questions. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're talking about update patch.
Yeah.
What about rollback? Does that do a job?
Good question.
Yeah. Also, I have to go into the end user device and do it manually. Like
From the console,
You can uninstall it. You can uninstall the application, right? Like
so the ESET application.
yeah, you can't roll it back though. Yeah,
Okay, don't worry about
yeah.
And
Okay.
question about
Yes.
the applications. So if you've got a set of applications, but if you have a client who's got a certain application that is not covered in there, what do you say look into?
Yes.
Changes to it.
Definitely. So if you can provide us with that list of application, we can raise it up with the ESET HQ, and they're known to be like growing that list of application that we cover. So when it first came out, I think the number was like 12 or 1,300. Now it's closer to 1,500. So the list is growing. But yeah, if there's any application that you find is not covered, and if the customer is using it, feel free to raise it up with us. Yeah.
And there are some that are a bit difficult, like AutoCAD, for example. We can alert to vulnerability for that, but we can't patch it just because the update is so complex, basically. And the feedback from most people that do a lot of CAD work, they sort of say they wouldn't want it to be updated anyway.
Correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Once it's updated, this thing will stop working.
Yeah.
That's all I was asking.
Yeah.
Roll back.
Yeah.
So just yeah.
But yeah, that's the latest updates in VAPA and ECOS.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
All we see here is very much like the Microsoft 365 Defender, the one they own, Microsoft.
Oh, you mean
How
the
did-
365 scanning?
In the once Microsoft offers similar laptop.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
This is often a question I've been asked.
Yeah.
Why choose this instead of Microsoft?
I think if you remember back a couple of slides ago, I said there's 1.5 million spam messages, 800,000, whatever it was, all those numbers.
Yeah.
That's what Microsoft has missed. So the answer there would be if somebody has Protect Complete at the moment and they say, I don't need to pay for this again, then go into the reports, send them out the reports and say, here's what ESET detected Microsoft missed. If they don't have it at the moment, you're trying to sell it to them, then do the trial. And then you'll see in the trial everything that's come through Microsoft's filtering levels.
Normally, I encourage my clients to go for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Microsoft's hopeless. Never get any disorder.
Yeah.
So just
But that's an interesting question. Is there
This is-
an advantage in pricing when you look on ESET compared to Microsoft?
Yeah.
it's a bit tricky. So if you compare business standard versus business premium, that's about, I think, $12 more per month. Complete, its total price is sort of about $4 to $6, depending on the number of seats that you buy. So it's significantly cheaper. But then with business premium, you get conditional access, you get the ability to install applications on a terminal server, various other things. So yeah, I don't think people are buying the security product by itself. But if you were, I think by itself, that's about $7 or $8. So what we normally hear is people say, well, my client's on business premium because of some other feature. So how do we do it? And then, as I said, do a trial of the email security. You'll see how much stuff Microsoft gets through.
Yeah, because it's not Microsoft. That's why you want it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Also a good idea.
Yeah.
But you know, I did say, of course, yeah, I'll be bringing up that again a couple of times. So I said complete is what we've run through, and everything, of course, today has been included in complete that we've gone through so far. And that's why I think it's really, really good for your sort of standard SMB businesses up to say 25 seats or so. I think for the majority of them, every feature they would want is actually in there. Now above complete, we've got enterprise and elite, and there's two modules there. There's the EDR, or some brands call it XDR, and it's a little bit interchangeable almost now. And then elite, we've also got the multi-factor authentication as well. Now, we do still sell quite a bit of enterprise to Fiji and government because, as I mentioned before, they don't like cloud stuff. So a lot of the time, the 365 filtering there or the patch management isn't relevant to them. But other than that, we don't really sell enterprise anymore. We sell a huge amount of elite instead. And a good majority of the customers that we do the 24/7 support service for, almost all of them now are on elite as well. So looking at those extra modules, so I said XDR. Now there's a lot of words there, and it's a bit tricky sometimes to understand quite what that means. Like, you know, network visibility, root cause analysis sounds great. What does that really mean in the real world? I'll come back to that when we talk about it. MFA is a little bit easier to understand. So think of it first and foremost as your Windows login. So when you press Control-Alt-Delete, type in your password, then you pick up your phone and put in a 6-digit code, or you can use a flash drive as well, or a couple of other different ways to authenticate. So that's sort of the start of it, but then you'll also see that there's VPN, RDP, Outlook, and various others as well. So it really can be MFA for just about everything in your environment. Now, as I said before, you know, almost all of these are available as a standalone license, but it is included in Elite. We do have some people that buy this separately because their client has, say, advanced or complete, and they really value the MFA part of it. So you definitely can do that.
Excuse me, what sort of money is a single, like, is standalone?
It's about $2.50, $3 a month, something like that. So it's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, obviously, you know, usual story, scary numbers and so on. Why you might need it. Password hygiene obviously is a big one. And of course, we've all seen a slide like this. I saw one the other day that was a lot more complex. This was a lot more rows and columns, but we all know that something like that is true. So of course, that brute force detection that ESET has is very valuable here as well for terminal servers and that sort of thing. But of course, again, we really should have something with an extra layer of authentication there. So what exactly does it encompass? I've already touched on some of these here. Windows login, I think, first and foremost, and then basically every other device, every other resource that you have out there. So obviously I've listed there Azure AD and Dropbox. So you could use this to protect your Dropbox accounts. So when they log in, their second step is they type in the code from the ESET app. You can use the Microsoft and Google apps as well. In the video, we do use the ESET one, and you can see there the various tokens as well. So if somebody doesn't want their mobile phone, their personal phone, to have a work-related application on it, then you can just give them a flash drive they have to carry around with them forever. So yeah, basically it is everything around identity, cloud on-prem hybrid. We don't need this to be involved in Azure AD or traditional AD at all. The machines can just be on a work group and they might just have access to Google and that's it. This will still work. So yeah, very, very open. Now some of the charts here, so I've got this one, we do have it in the video too, but the reason why I've got it is I think this is a little bit more realistic. So you'll see there a couple of failed MFAs there in red at the top of those bars, and then also there's at least one user there that's locked themselves out, so there's settings there for user lockouts as well if they keep on failing. Another interesting couple of settings there, so MFA in safe mode, you probably would have that turned on. The Windows lock screen, so if you just hit Windows L and go away to make a coffee or something and come back, you won't need to do MFA. So just some settings there just to make it easier for the users. And then also you can see offline there, we can do that a couple of different ways too. So yeah, huge feature set there. I'll just start playing the video now. There we go. So yeah, so on this one there, we're just hovering over a couple of them there to give you users there that have MFA or don't have MFA. This is the test environment, and Lukesh intentionally set this up with him having one of his accounts with MFA already enabled, and then one of his other ones without it. And then in the video, you'll see him do a self-enroll. So hopefully for, say, a terminal server type environment, some of your clients can self-enroll, but of course, you can enroll with them as well if you want to. So you can import users there from a CSV, but you can also sync with Active Directory or Azure AD, whatever you want to as well. So all of your users get populated there. The components are simply the installers. I'll see there we've got it installed on one machine at the moment. That's a terminal server. You can also filter there by company. So again, fully multi-tenanted. In that instance, we've got about 3 or 4 of our test companies in there. And you're just building up the installer much the same as what you do with normal ESET installers for the antivirus on PCs. The reports are quite nice. Obviously, you can filter this, sort this, do whatever you want, but basically it gives you a list of every single login attempt, whether it passed or failed. And then we just run through some of the settings here. So you can whitelist IP. So again, if users are in the office, whitelist the IP range, then they don't need to MFA in. So again, just trying to make it as easy as possible because we all know that people don't like picking up their phone every 5 minutes to MFA into things. Enrollment, so register unknown users, allow them to authenticate in the various ways. So for whatever reason, you might have a way that you want them to do, and then another way that you don't want them to connect in. Physical tokens there, as I mentioned, there's 2 types we support, FIDO and then a hard token that has a 6-digit rotating code on it. All the different notifications there, and then user lock, so number of times before it locks them. So obviously you can change that, and you'll get the notification if they're failing as well. So in our test environment now, so we've connected into the phone with TeamViewer, and then just logging into a terminal server there. So we did have saved credentials turned on, just to highlight that obviously a lot of people do that for RDP, which isn't great. Gives you the ID there, and then we've accepted that push notification. Now this one, we're going to log in as the standard user, and this user doesn't have it set up, so it's going to prompt us to set ourselves up. So protect your account there. Set up, you can scan the QR code. As I said, we're using the ESET Authenticator, but you can use Microsoft or Google ones as well. And then pops up there. Now we've got the new tokens. We've got 2, and you'll see that the username's different. One's the admin one, one's the normal account. And then when we go to it, you'll see that ID 357 there, so we know that we're using the right account as well, and then the user's logged in. So yeah, quick run through there of that. I think, yeah, definitely a very useful module to have as part of the Elite stack, and yeah, just another reason to sell it. Now,
Sorry, this question on the ESET. So if the RDP sessions got disconnected, will it prompt it again?
If it's disconnected, I think it does, yes. But there might be a setting for that too. But I need to double check the other
Can
one.
you pin it down to like an IP address so that when it's customer in the office, they don't need to have?
Yeah, that's that whitelisting part. So yeah, so if obviously if the office is 192.168.1 range, then you're not going to do that.
No.
But yeah, you definitely could whitelist inside the office to connect to a terminal server.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. So inspect, this is our EDR module. Now, as I said before, there were some words there about, behavioral root cause and network analysis and so on. What does that actually mean? In the real world, that's the example that I like to use. Now, what's going to happen from there? So somebody calls, they manage to convince your client they're from the internet or they're from Microsoft or whatever. They connect in with TeamViewer, they make a new local admin account, they run PowerShell, and they start to download something. So there's a couple of different steps there. Now, all of that sort of behavior, it's not that I'm picking on TeamViewer. Obviously, a lot of people use it and it is a legitimate tool, but you want to make sure that it's your TeamViewer, right? Not some other random person. So the whole point here is that visibility that you get. So with Inspect, we'd get that visibility that TeamViewer turned up on the machine. Then we'd see that local admin account get created. Then we'd see PowerShell being used. And those 3 things, of course, are quite strange for, say, an accountant to be doing, right? So you'd see that behavior and take action. So you're getting that visibility. You're getting the visibility of, here's the 4 or 5 steps or whatever it was that have been taken on this machine already. And you get the control there of being able to kill those processes, of course, like normal antivirus would, but also we know that user account got created. That's something that an antivirus isn't really going to give you visibility on normally. So that's sort of the concept of it there, and I'll show you a little bit more info in a video soon, but you'll see there meet cyber insurance requirements. So when we started selling quite a lot of enterprise and elite, and when we launched our 24/7 MDR service, the main sort of drive was cyber insurance requirements. Came on the form to the client, the reseller got that and said, oh, we don't have MDR in place. Chilisoft has got a service for that. But in the last sort of 6 to 12 months, we've seen a lot of our resellers are sort of doing a good, better, best type option, where they say to their clients, good is say complete, better is elite, and then best is elite with our 24/7 service on it. So sort of standardizing on that, and that's seen quite a big uptake with quite a few of our resellers. So again, just highlighting it there, those sort of fileless attacks, the root cause, knowing where that file came from, how it got onto the machine in the first place, lateral movement through the network, and I'll show that a little bit in another slide coming up soon. Every single bit of data that was affected. So even a registry change, we would report on it and tell you exactly what the registry change was. And then the various other techniques that the attacker might have used. And then of course, how do you respond? So now that you've got this visibility, of course, it might be stop that file from ever executing again on the network, isolate it off the network, but you still can control it from the ESET console with RDP and a command prompt. Kill the process, obviously, and then clean the files as well. Now, on the note of that sort of network movement, you'll see that on the next slide there. So right in the middle, there's a PC, and on the right, that quite big hub and spoke there, that's one particular task doing a whole bunch of stuff. The yellow ones there are other PCs on the network. So again, you get that visibility of what it's running, how it's communicating out across your network. So it's not just one file on one PC, you get a huge amount of visibility there. Now, the reason why I've got a couple of bullet points here is obviously, again, prevention. We've mentioned that a couple of times. We do use the reputation system from the 110 million endpoints out there. So as I mentioned before, we get that visibility. We can report on that visibility, but it also means if somebody else in the world has something similar happen, the rule set gets updated for you automatically. And you'll also see there again, Windows, Linux, and Macs are all different OSs. Now, I haven't mentioned AI much at all. I think I mentioned it once before. The reason for that is I specifically wanted to highlight the AI Advisor and go into a bit of detail on our AI Advisor today. So that's something that sits on top of the EDR console and gives you sort of a understanding of what's actually going on. And the reason that I haven't talked about it too much, we talked about LiveGuard before, back in there in 2018. And of course, before that, we talked about things like heuristics, machine learning, that sort of stuff. So ESET didn't, invent AI and their technologies like, 2 years ago, like ChatGPT did, of course, and get that into the public mind. We've been doing this sort of stuff for many, many years. So what's AI Advisor? So effectively, it allows the person that's using the Inspect console to understand what's happening very quickly, what's been changed, how to fix things, that sort of stuff. And I think importantly there at the bottom right, users of all skill levels. So you don't need to be an expert, you don't need to be working in the console every day, but it'll give you great insights as to what's happened. So going to play in a little video there, and you'll see some of these ones here. Credential dumping, registry changes is the one that we're going to go into. Then a bit further down there, there's PowerShell and various other things. So again, not necessarily a virus type detection, but still behavior that's of concern. Right, so I'll play this as we're going to go into the top one there, and you'll see command prompt, task manager, and then something in the temp file. And the AI Advisor there prompts you with a couple of different questions you could ask. And that one we said what happened, and then it tells us on this particular PC, registry changes were made by this user, making these changes, etc., etc. What does that mean? RDP doesn't need authentication, which obviously is a concern. How do I fix that? And then can you write a report for my CISO? So if we look there, it says summary, this happened, registry changes, all that sort of stuff. So of course you can go back and change that registry key. You can change whatever else was set there. So great visibility that you get as part of that. Now all of this would exist in the console, of course. Anyway, we've got there up at the top timeline detections, all that sort of stuff. You can go into that and you can read those individually, but sometimes there could be quite quickly 1,000 individual detections of each of those bits of behavior, and it could quite quickly build up to be a huge list. So yeah, AI Advisor is a great way for the person to get a quick view of what's gone on there, make the changes and fix that machine and get it back into production.
By the way, the pizzas are here. Yeah,
I still
want to grab us, let's go for it.
Yeah, I was going to run through a little bit more and then get to the training, and then for the training, when you're talking over the training, then we can, because that takes quite a long time, that one. So yeah, so MDR service. So of course, Inspect, as you might be able to understand from that registry change and some of that other visibility, can be quite a big thing to sort of try and manage. And also, of course, most IT companies aren't 24/7 either. So that's why we've turned on this service, basically. We're protecting well over 6,000 machines with it. And some of the largest clients are sort of 500, 700, 1,500 seats on it. But we've got clients all the way down to 5 seats as well. So it really does cater for just about every business in New Zealand. Now, we are ISO 27000 certified, and all of our people also have been Ministry of Justice and Police vetted as well. And yeah, as I was saying before, really proud of the service that we can offer it in country at a distributor level, so we're not sort of competing against you, or there's no other conflicts of interest there as well. Now, other benefits, of course, of us looking at it rather than your own team is that, of course, our team is dedicated to it. So it means that we're not distracted by users calling, hi, I can't print. We're in this the whole time, right? So that's important. And you saw some of that earlier stuff there about patches that get reverse engineered very quickly, people that are exploiting things very quickly. Again, that visibility of knowing something as it's happening is quite important. So we talk about, that initial breach to actual malware execution getting shorter and shorter. And then, again, why does it take so long? I already mentioned this, no time to check the security consoles. A lot of people don't have dedicated security engineers. And then, of course, the standard help desk is busy with, hi, I can't print, or at the moment, maybe replacing Windows 10 machines. Threats are becoming more sophisticated, as I showed in that earlier graph. That unknown kept on going up and up. That's because they're just getting more complex, harder to spot. It's not just one file running on one PC. And then again, of course, that expertise of having dedicated security person in your team often just doesn't happen at all. You just don't have that capability. So a couple of more key features there. What I wanted to mention specifically is the exclusions optimization. So all of the 24/7 stuff we've already talked about, but what sort of sets us apart a bit is that we hear of a lot of sort of global services out there that operate this type of thing is just having a base rule set, and you can't really sort of customize the rule set. So what that means, if you've got a SQL server that does something weird once a week, I've heard of one of the global services where it would kill that process from running. And the answer was, we can't change the rules. That's just how it is. Whereas with us, if we can do take communications, they build radios, they've got full software and hardware developers in-house and 1,600 people globally. If we can customize the rule set for them, I'm pretty sure we can do it for your clients as well. So quick run through there of the MDR. I think the other advantage of it is that it means that you're not worried about having that client call you at 7 o'clock in the morning saying, I can't access my system because something's happened, that we've sort of taken care of it, seen it in real time and stopped whatever that threat was. Now, all of that was all about endpoint. Now we're talking about identity. So endpoint, obviously the PC, everybody understands that. With identity here, we're talking about Office 365 and of course the wider Entra ID as well. So looking for impossible travel, a user logging in from 2 different countries at the same time, or email rules there on the far right. So a rule is set up on your inbox. Any email that comes in, move it to a deep subfolder somewhere or forward it out to say a mail.ru email address, something like that. That obviously indicates that account's been compromised, and that's what we're doing there is looking for those sorts of things as part of our service. Now, with this being that it's in 365, it's not actually part of the main sort of core ESET product. So with what I was showing you just before, you need that enterprise or that elite license. With this, you could have a customer that's on, say, entry or advanced, and we can still protect against it because we're not doing it on the machine, we're doing it in the 365 tenant. Because this is a service we're running ourselves with our own internal team, we don't do it for G Suite just yet. We're just doing it for 365, but that's just based on the number of clients out there that want this for 365. We haven't had a single person ask us about it yet for Google. Now that's sort of the whole ESET stack, if you like. So we've run through from your sort of base antivirus, all those threats, and then sort of all the way up the tiers and all the different products and modules that we've got there. Now we're kind of going to go one bigger, one above it, if you like, and that's one of our other brands that we have here at Chilisoft called Stellar Cyber. So they're looking at things beyond the endpoint, and their sort of scary slide, a little bit similar to what I was just saying before. Large increase in the attack surface because people are running more and more programs. Often they're in the cloud and they don't have full visibility over them. And of course, that means, again, excessive alert volume, more complexity. You don't have the chance to look through all of the logs. So what they're talking about is working alongside ESET at the endpoint, and then Stellar Cyber is everything sort of beyond the endpoint. So looking at your firewalls, looking at 365 as well, and everything else on the network. Now, they do have a huge number of integration partners and some of the brands we sell. So we sell Qualys as well, Netscope, and of course, there's a couple of other brands on there that I'm sure you'll recommend as well. But basically, as the brand goes, if you look at the bottom right there, they do have quite a big footprint out there and are definitely considered one of the leaders in this sort of segment. For them, they call it a case. With ESET, we call it an individual detection as a detection as well. And then an incident is when we sort of roll things all together into a case. And of course, again, with ESET, the rules engine sort of builds up that incident with everything that's relevant to it. With Stellar Cyber, they call it a case, but the concept is the exact same thing. And if you can read the text there, it still talks about a couple of different IPs on the network, malware download, pseudo command being run, all that sort of stuff. So it's the same sort of thing. It's just that we're looking at a whole bunch more of the network there. So we've got sensors on the network. Normally you might just have one or two there, but they take your logs from your switches, from your firewalls, from AD, etc. If you've got other technology in the environment that's connected in, then we can also pull the logs from that. And then again, much like ESET with the Cloud Office Security, API integrations to everything else out there as well. So yeah, from your WatchGuard firewall, another brand that we sell, from your ESET on your PC, from Active Directory or Entra ID, we're getting all of those logs across everything. So the example that I like to use here is, what if I bought a little Intel NUC into one of your clients' environments or even into your own office? I plug it in and maybe I just torrent and I just want to steal your bandwidth, but maybe I'm doing something else and trying to attack your network. How would you find that? For most people, it's probably pretty hard. They'd physically find it one day when they accidentally unplug it. So yeah, that's sort of the concept, if you like, of Stellar Cyber. It's sort of the full platform. And why are we doing this? Because we know that your teams aren't going to have the time in the world to look at your firewall logs, your ESET logs, your identity logs, etc., etc. There's just
know that NUC is plugged into that port where a printer should be, for instance.
Assuming that you've got a managed switch, it would be able to tell you that that MAC address was the one that is doing whatever that behavior is, and then the switch should be able to tell you that.
NUC and not a printer, and
yeah,
and block it.
Possible. I'm not too sure about specifically that one actually.
Okay.
But yeah, it'll definitely tell you, that MAC address is plugged into that port and it's taken those logs from the switch.
Yeah. I just at the time, if somebody's trying to do something that's not supposed to be doing.
It would also show you unknown devices on the network. So it would show you that that PC sort of just turned up and is otherwise unknown. And then again, the rule set sort of kicks in from there when it starts to do dodgy things.
Okay.
And then, yeah, again, as it's sort of that idea of that funneling that down, where you're not trying to look at all of the logs manually, you'd never get there. So we make those individual alerts, we group those into cases, and then of course that analyst that's sitting at the far right there gets a small amount of information through to him that he can actually take action on.
It's not dependent on ESET.
Nope. So if you remember back at one of these slides there, everybody's favorite blue screen vendor is listed there, for example. So you definitely could run any other product if you want as well.
So it's actually a SOC service then.
Effectively, yeah. And there's a couple of different layers that it can run at. So one of them is that you can operate it yourself, or we can operate it for you as a service. So for the clients that we've got out there, they've all chosen to run it as a service delivered from us.
You mean you're hosting it? So
we're not hosting it. It is in their cloud platform as far as the server sort of resource and stuff goes, but it's our team looking at the logs, analyzing what's going on and taking action.
So we can offer that service to our clients.
Yeah, correct. Yep. Cool. And then again, just their sort of summary page there of everything that they sort of think it must have. And I think probably the second one there is the important part, along with the third one, the simplicity of use there. So again, the idea, is you're getting that complete visibility from everything, but you're only looking at the ones that, you might want to actually look at that might actually be a concern. And of course, again, the numbers there, 90% productivity increase, etc., etc. Now we have run through the whole stack there apart from the cybersecurity awareness training, and the pizza did come a little bit early. So what I was going to suggest is, we've got beer there, we've got pizza, we've got other food. So if we have a quick break, everyone can grab a drink, and then we'll run through the security awareness training, which is our last part of today.
Oh, by the way, we have got more pizzas. It's in the back row.
For the service itself, it's $5. And then the license for Elite depends on the amount you're buying here. But it starts off, it's similar to ESET with everything, it all gets cheaper. But sort of it starts off about $10, drops down fairly quickly about $7.
Cheers, quite a lot. Yeah.
We're on the table?
Yeah.
No. Oh, wow.
Okay.
I think those slices on it.
Yeah, we may have ordered a little bit too much pizza. I see the other as well.
That was also spicy. Wrong side there. That's not my side, I just wasn't expecting it. Very nice. It was spicy. I'll combine these and then be able to eat it. I can't even put that off. This stuff's big. Has anybody got a bottle opener? On the side there.
Oh, yes, and of course, somebody else, that's good. I missed your joke, but no, there's, yeah, one with the side there.
Oh, what you got this one?
Then, and she goes. And Rocco. These are quite nice. They're They pretty much taste like a salt fry.
Oh, very good pizza. Better than the
Yeah, I think we have like 35 reservations for people coming in because.
I don't know. So I was wondering, the mention.
Yes, yeah.
Is it necessary that every endpoint is ESET?
Yes, so some of the modules like parts, yeah, sort of separate, if you like. But yes, it's a good patch management, you need to have the ESET core antivirus.
Okay, I understand. So that's the identification. Maybe ESET only it manages.
Yeah.
Also patch management and it's not. You have first to get ESET on it. But how you, for instance,
She was saying at the start.
whether the ESET comes over backlinks. Yeah, I never tried that. Yeah, it's kind of.
No, ESET works really well, and a lot of users.
You know,
that run it. The only issue sometimes is that Apple do an update and it stops each code now. So device controls stops working with the Sequoia update.
It's not good.
And then ESET will relaunch that again in a couple of months.
So should, did you try the feature in Farley?
Yep. What work to set up.
Okay. Exception is, I think.
No, one furthest. It's really good.
And what about?
Yeah.
iPad OS is the same
Sandwich
as iOS.
Okay, so they are also, okay, yeah. But no patch management.
Which.
There is the option to list the update somewhere. Yeah, so here's my show you. But yeah, you can do it. Stop it. Not updating software.
That particular user. Yeah, it's a cool setting of ESET.
It was really good, like the patch management does work.
There's no point in having like, initially what you want. Go up, so you want to go out in there. We do a lot of the thing for you, just for them.
No idea. Never over here.
What's the money? You can try it.
I gave a few names to Ashton. I don't know exactly what I'm like. Be like
They sound so good.
yeah, just it runs like.
More issues that, yeah, very good. Maybe you want to do mushroom. I don't know. Yeah. It's small. Yeah, well, I don't mean, it's not clear what anything. But you. Yes. Yes. I mean,
Like that's not a clear way, but I think you can pay for as long as.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so some really, it's like.
Yeah, that's not a clear way.
Not eat crust.
Now we'll start again. Hello everyone. I know it's going to be a little bit boring for the live stream guys to watch us all eat and drink, so I won't stop for too long. So yes, so our cybersecurity awareness training product, this is being launched next week, August the 12th. Because that's European time, realistically, it'll probably take us a day to get things set up as well. So don't call me on the morning of the 12th, please, about it. But we can do trials for you now already. Even though it's new to this market, it was actually launched about 3 years ago by ESET North America. So it is sort of a mature product, if you like. It's just that all of the templates at the moment are sort of American brands. There are some global ones, obviously, you know, a Twitter or a Apple gift card or whatever, still a relevant email to use as a template. But there's being more and more New Zealand ones built for it every day, both by Lukesh here, as well as the global ESET team. One of the great things is you can customize your templates and upload your own ones as well. So when we're talking about this module, sort of what are we talking about exactly? So it's not just phishing emails, it's the full training courses as well. So things like if you see a flash drive on the street, do you plug it into your PC? If you get, you know, a fake job, I know I mentioned that before, but you get a fake job thing there on LinkedIn, how do you spot that it is actually a fake job advert? Or all the other various things that we all know about now that can be, you know, much more than just a phishing email. But of course, phishing emails are what people sort of think of first when they think of this. Now, Lukesh is going to run through all the dashboards and the real-time reporting that you can see on the left. But of course, the whole point here is it's not just send a link out, it's actually see who clicked or see who keeps on clicking, as the case may be. And also, of course, see who's going through those training courses as well. So you can see who you've enrolled, how much of it they've done, that sort of thing. There are already hundreds of templates. In fact, I think it's quite close to 1,000 templates. And yeah, we are ramping up the New Zealand ones now as well. If a user fails a particular test, for example, a phishing test, they'll be given specific training. So it's not just enroll all the users to the initial training courses, but also if they click, they'll get another video to run through as well. It is multi-tenanted, so all of your clients could be in one. We were in Christchurch Monday and Tuesday this week, and we had a particular reseller there that's got about 1,500 home licenses with us. Literally zero business, even though this is a business product. They said we deal with a lot of old people. We think this will be great with them, and they can enroll those people as well. So yeah, definitely business focused product, but there's nothing stopping you from enrolling a home user if you look after some of them. One thing I really like, you'll see highlighted in gold, there is randomized schedules. So another product I was aware of in the past, you didn't really have a full sort of schedule builder, and you couldn't really randomize it either. So what you would do is log into the console, choose the phishing email you wanted to send out, and then click the send button. The problem with that is everybody in the business would get it at the same time. So yeah, Thomas there sees it, he's smart, he goes, oh, this is funny, they're testing us again. And Kerry, meanwhile, was just about to click on it. So that's the point of randomizing that schedule. And you can actually be quite complex. You could do something like over the next 12 months, send a message every single month, choose from these, say, 7 or 8 templates or something like that. So it's not just the same one email coming in all the time, or it means that you as an MSP don't need to log into it and queue them up, schedule them, that sort of stuff. It can be a little bit sort of set and forget. So what we're going to run through in this demo is how do you schedule that training course, and of course the phishing simulation as well. So 2 parts of it there, and the visibility you get as an admin over what we're doing, which of course is important, how to customize it. So Lukesh has built a really good Lotto New Zealand one, for example. But one of the great things with this is that you could send us emails as well. So if you get a client tomorrow that gets really good email that's quite hard to spot, forward it to us, we can make it into a template, and then we can upload it maybe back just to you. Ideally though, if we could sort of reshare that template, if you like, out with ESET, that means everybody in the world can get that template. So quite a handy thing, I think, there as well. And then of course, from the end user's perspective, what does their console look like when they're doing the courses and that sort of thing. So yeah, so I'll hand over to Lukesh now for the last bit of the demo here. And with this one, yeah, we do run into it in a reasonable bit of things. So, and again, at any stage, of course, you feel free to ask questions. And I know the most common question is what's the pricing? That's the next slide after the demo. So I'll bring that up for you then.
Okay, just a minute. So we've got the cyber awareness training at admin.cybertraining.eset.com. So we kept it separate because it's a separate module altogether. It's not part of any bundles. And basically you can just buy this as a separate offering as well.
So
What
what
the
AVG customers?
Yeah, sell it to AVG customers if you want. Um, So for like once you log in, you are greeted with this dashboard. You can do like phishing simulation from this tool, as well as you can enroll users to like cyber awareness training, like enroll them to courses. So you get some stats on the screen. So basically, how many tests you have scheduled, if there's anything that is currently running, how many have been completed, and if you click on it, it will give you like stats of those particular tests, right? Similarly, you have courses one at the bottom, and you have got that timeline view of what activity you took in when. So this one is for the testing one, and now we have also got the course activity there. So currently there's 2 in progress. But yeah, basically some more summary there at the bottom. And if there's any new like templates that are being added to the console, it's all highlighted there on the dashboard itself, right? In order to start using this particular console, we have like a full-blown user guide that you can take advantage of. It's directly built into the console. For example, you need to verify your target domain first, right? And each section will show you like how exactly you can go ahead and do that. There's like dedicated videos, not too long, like a 1-minute video. That's about it. Shows you how you can add the domain in and verify it. It basically is an email verification. That's about it. Yeah, so once you've added the target domain in, you can create the groups of users that you're testing, or you can import the targets. You can import the targets from your Active Directory, your Office 365 as examples. But yeah, basically there's a bunch more options we can choose from. You can do like third-party integration as well. So yeah, basically it will go through like all the requirements and how you can actually set things up. Once you have set up the whole like targets and you verify the domain, that's when you can start building out the phishing simulation, right? So you can start building out your campaigns. So to build out a campaign, we have the test or campaigns option there. Once you click on it, you'll get the submenu. You can go create campaign. And in here, you can pick and choose, is it like a phishing simulation campaign or is it a training campaign? So say, for example, if I go phishing campaign and go save it next, it will require a name there. So I'll go Oakland Fish 1, maybe. Then I can pick and choose the group that I want to test it against. So I've got my Chilisoft Labs group. I can also go like auto enroll, like failing targets, and then I can pick and choose the courses, right? So if the phishing simulation has failed, they'll be automatically enrolled into like say whatever course you define here. You can also pick and choose the schedule, like is it like a one-time run campaign or is it a recurring one? But yeah, basically this is how you pick and choose that schedule. So whatever time frame you define, you pick and choose the number of phishing templates there, and then you go like maybe send them like 2 times a week or 3 times a week or like whatever your scenario is there. But yeah, once you're happy with the schedule, go save it next. Under the targets, you can pick and choose all the users that were part of that particular user group that you selected before, or you can basically select like the 1 or 2 or whichever one you want to like run it against. Say if I pick and choose everything and go save it next. On this screen, it defaults to my phishing templates, like the ones that I've used in the past or the ones that I've created myself, right? So I've got a few in there that I've recently like been working on, like that Noah Leeming one, the NZTA one, the NZ Loader one. Also, I was looking at the LinkedIn one, the Google one, stuff like that. So you can keep on adding stuff, right? And for each template, there's like a domain also associated with it. Like for Noel Leeming, I use that big notifications.com. So very legitimate looking domains where they send the test out from, right? Yeah, but once you're happy with that, in fact, before I move forward, let's go to template library. So this is the global template library. So there's like thousands of templates in there that you can pick and choose from. Just waiting for it to load actually. But like the Workday payroll one, that was like, I think one of the new ones, I saw it on the dashboard. If you want to get it, you can just simply hit on get, and it will download this and add it to your My Phishing template there, and will automatically be added here as well. Cool. But yeah, there's heaps to actually pick and choose from, like Netflix one, Walmart doesn't apply, but Coinbase does. Google one does, Zoom, Microsoft. But yeah, there's heaps to pick and choose from, right?
Can you make a template where if you've got a particular domain, you've registered yourself?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely can. It's a like listed under the resources section there, like how to do it,
Okay.
right? But yes, if you have got a domain that you would like to use for that phishing simulation, you can. Yeah. But yeah, in the end, you have got the review page, like before you authorize and run the test. Just stuff like Microsoft Safe Listing, like how you can do that, like what tests you're running, what's the schedule, what templates you're sending out, so on and so forth. If you want like notification for those campaigns to be received by you, you can just turn it on. But yeah, you can just basically hit finish, and that's when it will start sending out those phishing simulation, right? Now let's see the templates. So I showed you, like, I just showed you the names and stuff. Let's go and have a look at the templates itself, right? Cool. To start off with, let's have a look at the ESET Loader one that I created back in March. So back in March, there was like a day where as I received this, there was like a 10 million Loader. And basically, I just copied that email, chucked it in here, like the whole code of it. So very legitimate looking emails. Like this is just a divider. When you actually send it out, it's like a one single image, right? But yeah, you can basically, if you know HTML coding, or if you have got AI subscription, you can basically modify it as per your liking, get AI to write the code and just chuck the code in there. Also,
What are the tells though with that?
Sorry,
What are the tells?
tells?
We're testing people. Yeah.
Yeah, tells would be like, for example, it's coming from daily-winner.org.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's not coming from ESET Loader,
Yeah.
right? So that would be like one tell. Of course, and if you hover the mouse on the links and stuff, like whatever link we are using, like that would be the tell, right? Also, like very legitimate ones, like you can have this, like this is a variable, so it will replace it with the first name of the targeted user, right? So that's the phishing email. Then you have the landing page. I was lazy to design a landing page, so I just used a 365 login page there. But basically, you can copy the ESET Loader one there again. And then you can have, so once they check in the credential, you can go like, oh no, you have been phished, short video there. Also, if they fail this, they can automatically be enrolled to a course based on the campaign that you assigned earlier. So that's how it would work. Also, if I say go back into the templates, I'll show you like a couple more, right?
How does it schedule new starts?
You mean like a new employee who has? Yeah, okay. No, because if that employee becomes a part of that group and there's auto synchronization in place, then yes. But if you have selected the user individually, then no. Yeah. Yeah, the other day I saw this X new login one. So I found that very legitimate looking email there again. So somebody logged in, and this was from Mumbai on that particular browser, like Firefox for Linux. You get that email. So that's your phishing email. And the landing page is the sign page of X. If they chuck in the credentials, they get that training page again. No, you have been phished. This one was going from X at net-fix.it.
Even the credentials wrong, they get message like that.
Sorry.
Even the credentials wrong. Someone does.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do get that.
Yeah.
I just play along with it. So do I get?
Yeah, I haven't checked that yet. I haven't sent it out to myself. Let's see if I. Yeah, probably not. Yeah,
I don't know. How smart it is.
I'll need to check because it wouldn't query like. Yeah, I know what you mean. That would query like X and pulls the information like, yeah, was it successful or not?
Yeah.
I would need to check that, but I think what we are aiming for here is if the end user just chucks a credential and hits next or not. Yeah. But yeah, that is something again you can build down based on the code. Yeah. But yeah, with the code section, you can basically
program that.
yeah, you can program that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
did you must have doing a redirection URL on that link somewhere. So did you change, if you copy from somewhere, did you change the URL?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just want to check.
Yeah. No, that was part of me building that template. Yeah. Say, let's have a look at that.
Do we have to dumb down like a cloud security and everything for this to get through?
A little bit like that Microsoft Safe Listing one. Yes. And if you've got more email filters in place, then of course you'll need to allow that in order for it to run. But yeah, so this was the code section I was talking about earlier, right? So you can basically code everything in there. So maybe you can have it check, is it like an actual credential? Yeah. And then come back with the result. Yeah. Cool. Let's have a look at one more. Let's have a look at the NZTA one that I copied. So where is it? Yeah, here it is. So I was working on like a rego variable as well. Like I haven't completely figured it out yet. But basically what I want it to do is like replace the rego as well. Like already it gives me the first name and then the rego of that vehicle. And again, it's coming from node.reply from notifymyemail.com. There's heaps of domains that you can pick and choose from to play with. And again, like you mentioned, you can add your custom domain as well. Yeah. So that could be one of the things. Cool.
So if you have a ESET email filter,
yeah,
does the email filter know this is a phishing test from ESET?
Yeah, no. Yeah, because we haven't launched it globally yet, so we have to whitelist it. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, some more like no-leaving ones. Like you can basically copy pretty much the whole email and chuck it in there and design it as per your liking. Yeah. I'm not sure if there's like a clause of like some trademarks and stuff for using this, but yeah, you can use it at your own discretion if you want. Yeah. Cool. So those are the templates there. In terms of courses, let's have a look. School. So if I go say manage.
So just one question,
Yeah.
the domains they have, do they have any of those domains where we're doing, like earlier today, we had the capital G, which was a Unicode.
The homoglyph ones.
Do they actually have any in there?
I haven't actually found one yet.
Okay.
Yeah, because
that'd be really good to try.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like have a Google one there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's something we can let the ESET team know. Like maybe chuck in some homoglyph domains there. Maybe they're like very expensive to buy. I'm not sure. Like, but yeah, that's a feedback that we can pass on.
Well, the chances of the domain registrar allowing you to register Google with that G is pretty.
Well, actually, no. can register those funny ones quite easy.
Okay, so library courses. Let me just go ahead and have a look at that. Also, my one is a bit cut down version of the North American one, which is like a full blown production environment. This is the demo one that they have given me access to, right? So maybe bits and pieces changes when we actually do the whole global launch. But currently we have 125 courses that you can enroll the end users in, right? There's some gamified version of it, tells you exactly how long it is and so on. Some other language one, you can filter it out by language on the top, like an all-in-one cybersecurity training, so on and so forth. But basically, once you enroll, like say end user into a course, they get access to learning.cybertraining.eset.com. So if I just quickly log in as a student. So this is my student view, like some options there. and like how many courses I'm enrolled under, how many are overdue, if I've completed it or not, what like courses are there. Say, for example, if I try and continue that 2025 gamified version of cybersecurity, I can just basically run through that training course myself. And whenever the end user finishes the training, they would, in fact, all of this has got like sound to it. I think I've muted it for my desktop here. But basically, once they have completed the training, they get like a certificate. You can also custom build those certificates. Like maybe you want to have like a custom certificate for that customer. You can chuck one in there, like make it your own. But basically gives them like a sense of achievement once they have completed a course and bragging rights in the office. Yeah. But yeah, that's your cyber awareness training. Feel free to fire like more questions at me if you have some.
So what are the languages behind the courses here?
Okay, let's have a look. Languages currently set to English. Let's have a look. I'm not sure this Afrikaans one. Okay, no. I'll need to find that out for you. Like I said, it's a demo console that they've given me access to. It basically gives me all the languages, but not all the languages will have content. Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
Pick a language that's not Albanian. Pick French or German or
Chinese, maybe? No, nothing.
Spanish.
Okay, let's try Spanish. Which one? Latin America, Mexico, Spanish? Spanish? No, nothing in there. Yeah, like I said, I'll need to find that out for you. Yeah.
And what happens to the emails if the phishing email is sent and someone actually says, identifies it as spam and marks it as spam?
Yeah.
Do they get some sort of
Brownie points for it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good question. Like, nothing that I'm aware of.
A
Yeah.
company has something like this, but
Yeah.
someone else, but.
Yeah.
People who click on it, they actually get sent to a training sort of thing.
Yeah.
But what about the people who don't click on it and actually understand the value?
Well, they all.
Doing your job.
Yeah. Well, you can follow all that, like.
If there's some way to detect an email being read,
Yeah.
there should be a way to detect an email being clicked spam, right?
Yeah, so
Telling
you,
them a positive in
Yeah, you encourage them, so that they're more aware of it and keeps them.
so maybe that is something that you can work with the customer, because we do have those like executive summary reports. So this will exactly tell you which user clicked on which phishing simulation, like how far did they actually went through. And if there's any user, if you want to like praise or something, maybe highlight it in a Teams meeting or whatever. Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be public thing, just like,
Yeah.
yeah. You
So-
actually successfully identify the spam message.
Exactly.
The spam.
Could be a part of the review. I mean, yeah. But yeah, this is the executive summary report that can automatically be sent out to, like say, the management, or you can run it like once a quarter or whatever. Yeah. Cool. Any other question?
As far as the console goes, does it have the ability to give the end company or one of our clients access just to a subset of the portal?
Yep.
Yep.
So you can do that, because obviously I guess smaller customers, maybe you would manage them completely. And then a bigger client, they might have an HR person or whatever, so absolutely they could log in. Yep. The only thing at this stage is if you have access, you have access.
Yes.
So read and write.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Cool. Thanks for that, Rakesh. And then that's the pricing up there. So I think it's quite cheap. I think for most people, they'd look at that and go, cool, depending on where we're sitting at, sort of $15 up to about $20. So yeah, pretty cheap, I think. And that's for a full year. At this stage, they're not doing monthly. ESET's logic there, even though everything else can be monthly, their logic is if you turn this on for a month, do a test or two and turn it off, that could be a way that you sort of abuse it a bit and then not really sort of keeping up with the training long term. So that's why they're just doing annual at the moment.
Per user.
Yeah, per user. Well, per email address. So I have had some people ask me, like with Microsoft, of course, like a shared account is free kind of thing. But with this, their logic is, you might want to send it to your accounts at your support at those sorts of generic addresses, just to see if somebody clicks on one of those. So yeah, it is effectively per email address. But yeah, pretty cheap.
Do you have an idea of what the prices are compared to, let's say, the competitors, like no before, this?
Typically similar or a little bit cheaper. I think we're a little bit cheaper than no before. The other bit of feedback that I've had
before was like a minimum of like 20 seats or something.
Yeah, I was about to say, so a couple of other bits of feedback that I've had is your minimum seat count. So with this, it is for all of your clients. So if you had, like I mentioned before about home users, so this one particular reseller, they said, yeah, we've got about 1,500. We reckon we'll probably sell it to about 500 to 1,000. So they were sort of looking at $16 their cost. And I did tell them that, hey, with your types of customers, you might want to quote a much higher price than RRP because there's some labor component to it, obviously, as well. But yeah, you could literally just type in for the training, you could just type in homeuser@gmail.com, send them the training courses that you want them to do, and then they get access to their own portal and do it from there. So effectively, no real minimum user count.
And these are standalone product?
Completely standalone. Yep. And much like the Cloud Office Security one, for example, that's not related at all to the end point on the PC. So we do have some people that buy the Cloud Office Security one, and then they maybe, like, they're a government organization, they get free Microsoft stuff, but of course they want a proper level of protection. So they buy the Cloud Office Security separately to having Defender on the endpoint. Cool. Now we've got about 3 or 4 slides left, and then I'm just going to leave it up on that sort of chart. So there's a couple of changes coming to the home product range. So last year we launched the VPN with the top tier home product. That's been really quite popular. The whole point, I guess, 70 different countries, access to 70 different Netflix libraries. But also you do have a New Zealand one as well. So I've had a few people say, we go to Aussie all the time. We can't watch things on Sky, which is really annoying for us. So of course, yes, there is a New Zealand endpoint. You can VPN back into New Zealand if you want to. The premium one soon will have 3 VPN licenses as well. So the kind of gotcha with Ultimate was minimum seat count of 5. So the entry point was about $175 to buy 5 licenses for the whole year. But with premium, you can just buy 1 license. That means about $70. You get antivirus and you get a VPN, which is quite good value actually. Premium also has LiveGuard. So of course we talked about that with the business range. It has FolderGuard, which is a unique thing in the home range, and I've got a slide on that next. And then Home Security Ultimate's got ransomware rollback as well at the bottom there. So again, that same product we ran through with the business range. So FolderGuard, definitely designed as sort of a home product only, I think. But basically you can choose a particular folder and say only allow no one signed versions of, say, Word, Excel, Notepad, whatever, to access files inside that folder. So pretty cool little feature for home. Now we've already run through the ransomware remediation, so it's exactly the same as the business one. I'm not going to read anything on there other than that it's coming in October 2025. So ESET do sort of like an annual update, if you like, for the home range, normally about October-ish. And that's when these changes will come. So VPN for Home Premium will come then, as well as the Ultimate one will get the ransomware rollback. We've got a new chart there because we've got the VPN now, the very bottom line there in Premium. If you want a good quality version of this, so you can reprint it in sort of A3 size for your store or whatever, just let us know. Home Hub is sort of the management platform for home licenses. Now, some resellers were a little bit annoyed when we turned this on as being sort of a mandated thing. In the past, they could grab a key, pop it in, and that was it, and that would work. But we saw VPN, Password Manager, anti-theft, identity protection, parental control, all the things at the top there, plus a couple more features. The percentage rate of activations was something like 20%. So people were selling a license with a whole bunch of stuff in it, but not actually setting it up for the client. Now with the home being set up there, that portal, then we've seen it rapidly increase to about 60% now. We've also seen resellers are selling more licenses and of a higher tier as well, because now their users are being exposed to anti-theft or whatever the other modules are as well. So yeah, just something sort of be aware of. We did have a little bit of negative feedback at the start, but now that every reseller's been using it for a couple of months, it's actually been pretty positive. And they agree it's helping them sell more labor and higher end licenses. So that's it for home. As I said, only a couple there. And just a quick roadmap there. So everything that we've got up there has already happened. Most of the stuff that happened at the end of last year, start of this year, we've gone through in detail today. What's next? The cybersecurity training coming out next week. Of course, we've gone over that, plus those next couple there for the home ones. The ransomware rollback will get more features over time. So things like setting the size of files that you want to restore, multiple snapshots, a couple of other different things will be coming soon. The Cloud Office Security is getting a couple of new features that I think are pretty awesome. So URL rewriting. So if there's a link in an email, maybe it's safe today, maybe in 3 weeks' time it's not, because that site's been taken over, old version of WordPress or something. So it will redirect the user to the ESET page, rescan the site, then allow the user to get to the page. It'll take about 3 seconds, not a big deal time-wise, but I think it's definitely a good extra layer of protection. Quishing, possibly the worst word ever. So QR code phishing, basically scanning the QR code, seeing where it goes, seeing if that website's safe or dangerous in the way that the phishing engine works. And then VIP protection is a good one, and I think another use of that banner that we've got now that you can pop up there. So if you get an email from somebody with the same first name and last name from an external, Gmail address probably, as somebody internally, put up a bar saying it looks like this is possibly an impersonation type thing. So that's sort of, CFO and CEO type thing. The CEO sends the CFO an email, transfer me 100K or whatever. That's the sort of thing that's going to protect against there. Now, I mentioned to a few of you before we started that, sometimes with Mac features, Apple managed to break things and then we have to re-enable it. So we did have device loop control that broke with Sequoia. That's coming back now. And then the last line item there, Protect Hub and Home Hub. So at the moment with the licensing portal, if you buy annual and monthly licenses, you have 2 different portals to manage them in, but then you manage them all inside the one Protect cloud. So that's merging those 2 licensing models soon. So they'll be in one place and you can pop in both your annual and monthly. To be honest, that's a small step forward. I don't think that's terribly exciting for that many people. But the Home Hub, the reason why I talked about that home portal update before is that home portal is sort of designed for each individual home user. Home Hub is designed for the reseller. So in that portal, much like the business license manager, you'll be able to see this client's got 2 out of 3 activations. Or they call you and they go, I bought a new PC from Harvey Norman. Can you remove ESET from my old machine and give me the new one? From the Home Hub, you'll be able to deactivate the old PC, get the new license, push it out to that user by email, or have the code ready for TeamViewer or something like that. So I think, that'll be quite a good one for our home resellers when that launches. So that's quick little roadmap there. Again, I know there's a lot of text on there. I will send out the slide deck to everybody, so don't worry if you don't remember quite all of it. Final slide, and then that summary again. And as I was saying, I think Complete these days you should be able to sell Complete to just about every client. Elite for those that are a little bit more focused on security, and then of course you can turn on our security services there as well. You'll see the identity right at the bottom. That's available in all of them because it's got nothing to do with actual ESET itself. So the client could have entry, they could even have nothing at all from us, but they just turn on the identity and we can still protect them there as well. And that's about it. So any questions? I did actually realize for those that I know we actually didn't have any questions on.
I checked the chat.
Oh, cool. Awesome. And then obviously we've got plenty of pizza, plenty of food left. So we'll stay here until the last one of you leaves. So how much do you want to drink?
So Brett, with the Home Hub, does that mean that what happened to the Chilisoft website?
You'll still use the Chilisoft website for buying licenses and that sort of thing. The Home Hub is just for license management. So when you buy a license, you'll get that code. You'll pop it into Home Hub, and then from there you can push out the link to the client. Much the same way that the business console works. Or as I said, they call you because they've got a new machine or something. You can remove the old one, send out a link to the new install or something like that.
Right. Okay. Let's make it easy for us because in the past we have to go.
Yep.
I did have a question for John.
Yes.
He was saying, ask about the Essential 8.
Yep.
And he sent me a link to something.
Yep.
So I know what the Essential 8 is, but there's some ESET document about it.
Yeah, so ESET Australia have built a couple of different documents about specific ESET 8 alignment. And at various points out saying, you need the email filtering, or you need the patch management, or you need the whatever. And then obviously
different levels of maturity as well.
Yes. They've sort of got 1, 2, 3, I think, is their one. Obviously there's some parts of it that ESET, like backups, for example, we can't help with. But ESET Australia have got that full guide for it. And obviously a lot of Kiwi businesses do align Essential 8 or ISO or whatever.
You've got to have something to measure against.
Yes.
But is it, I guess, are we adopting it more and more, or the insurance people looking at it more and more? I don't know.
Well, from an insurance perspective, I definitely hear about, like 5 years ago, it was, do you have antivirus, do you have backups? That was it. Now it's, do you have MDR, is it 24/7 monitoring, how often are your backups run, etc., etc. So a lot of that, I guess, is pulling from Essential 8 or ISO or some other standard. As far as what people are actually doing out there, It tends to be a little bit sort of industry focused, like the Financial Markets Authority, FMA. They've said if you have a breach, yes, you must be able to report on it, tell us exactly how it happened, all the data modified, etc., etc. So effectively, any sort of financial advisor, mortgage broker, whatever, they realistically should have ESET EDR on there because that will give them that visibility. If they just have antivirus, it wouldn't give them that visibility. But that guide from the FMA doesn't say you need EDR. It just says you must be able to meet these outcomes.
Okay. I'll have a read of it because
Yeah.
again, you know, we've got to kind of keep on pushing them forward. They can't stand still.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at some point, yeah, essentially it will probably become sort of the de facto standard here.
Yeah.
But then, like the reason why we're ISO 27000 certified now is that we had to be for Take Communications.
Yeah.
The reason why they had to be, and the reason why all of their suppliers need to be, is because of their international contracts.
Yeah.
And actually, our smallest client on the MDR service that we've had now for nearly 2 years was a vineyard in Blenheim, who sold their wines to UK supermarkets. And the UK supermarket said, you must have all of these requirements. And one of them was the MDR service.
Yeah.
So they reached out to their reseller, and their reseller is a sole man, sole trader. We had spoken to him about it sort of 2-3 months ago. And so we knew that it existed. And then he said, yep, we can do that sort of thing. And then he called us and said, I've got a 5-user site about to go on it. And we were surprised. But that happened.
Yeah.
And that reseller now, I think he's got about 200 seats out of his 300 seats in total with us that are on Elite MDR. So he's really pushed it. And for him being a sole trader, it's quite important because he is often out and about for the whole day and he can't sort of look at alerts, as they're coming in sort of thing.
I agreed. I my weekends as well.
Yeah. And then, yeah, actually, I think this week we just signed up another business with 3 seats. But I don't know, that wasn't my deal. They haven't really touched it, but I did see that, yeah, we had sold a 3-seat license of MDR, which was stuff funny.
So the challenge is for us to see who can have the lowest number of seats, isn't it?
Oh, the most, obviously, the most is the biggest challenge.
Actually, talk about reports. So the only downside with sort of reports where people fail phishing test matters, it's a bit like back in the day when you used to sign call log reports from phone systems and that, and it basically seemed to be an in-house challenge to see who could actually get top of the charts.
Yeah,
and
all the stupid ways you can. Like when the MSP that I worked at, we had a thing of number of calls or number of tickets closed in a day, and then of course somebody would go to like the backups ticket board or to the antivirus ticket board, where 90% of them automatically get completed after 5 minutes anyway, and then close them. It's like, well, that's abusing the system. And then it doesn't matter what target you put in, the right person will figure out a way to game it. Yeah.
I think last time I came, there was like some sort of ConnectWise integration, and I know.
Yeah, so that was launched end of 2023. So I think we support a mixture of about 13 PSAs and RMMs for integration.
Yeah.
So from an RMM perspective, it's the endpoint management, so you can push out the installer, remove it, that sort of stuff. For the ticketing system, it's sort of a 2-way thing. So if a machine turns on, it's been off for a week, it might flag that ESET's out of date. That might make a ticket. And then it gets updated, and then it would come back and close that ticket off.
What I was after was basically updating the agreements based on how much.
Oh, the quantities. Yes, it does that too.
So I know they pushed back last time. There was something they didn't like. Can't remember.
I can't remember now either.
Yeah. Who's the best person here? Still you? To make that work?
Yeah, flick me an email.
So. Yeah, so basically, because it's all on anything in that kind of that MSP plan or whatever, we can sync up. That'd be the idea.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only potential problem is, I know ConnectWise agreements, they're built on sort of a round number. So a quantity of 6, quantity of 7. But with ESET, we build per seat day. So if you turned on 5 new users on the last day of the month, ConnectWise would try and bill for that total new user amount at the end of the month, but that's not necessarily fair because they didn't have those users during the month. So there are a few little gotchas like that sometimes. Probably not hugely relevant every month, but just something to be aware of.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, James.
Actually, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, because Microsoft will do it pro rate to the day now.
Yes,
So,
so do we.
yeah.
And that's what actually caught us out with you guys a little bit when you upgraded all of your seats
Oh,
from
yeah.
entry to complete.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
So the entry tier at the end of the month was 0 seats,
Yeah.
but you had been using entry through the month, so it made your entry line item very expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then obviously we did that credit
Anthony,
afterwards.
Yeah, good to see you're hungry still. Yeah, I'll just come in for pizza, just as everybody's leaving.
Pick up the drink.
That's all good. Yeah, no, there's probably a few things that we need to have a crack at. Yeah, I'll run some of it past John and see how far he pushes back.
Cool. We can do that security awareness training as a trial for you guys as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to turn some
we have
licenses
been
on.
using No before, and the uptake's been really low.
Yeah.
So it'd probably be Mike if we get, because that's his interest is getting this out there and looking at how we package it up. Try again.
One major problems with all of these systems though is if your system's good at intercepting dodgy emails, it's hard to get the test messages through half the time. It's
Exactly.
annoying.
Yeah, you got to dumb it down just to make it work.
And there is a full guide in there. So it tells you here's the exact whitelisting to do, here's the 6 steps to follow kind of thing. So you really would only be opening up just the ESET training stuff, not anything.
Yeah. It's worth having another look at.
Yeah.
Because I think it's, people want it. But we're like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You gotta turn off too much stuff. Well, what's the point?
Yeah, but no, with this, the guide's pretty good to go through and follow. I think the other thing also that you guys might be interested in is with the Stellar Cyber thing, is obviously you might be thinking of, well, I'm not going to sell it to a client with 20 seats.
No.
I'm going to sell it to a client with 100 seats or 1,000 seats.
Yeah.
But the other way of doing it is that you say, right, every single site that's got, is big enough to have a Fortinet, has a switch, has 365, of course, has whatever.